What is up, everybody? This is Edward back with another video, another episode of Everybody Hates Black Men. Again, I am your host, Edward Anderson. We will be starting in about 5 minutes, so 4:45 Eastern Time. In the meantime, y'all come in here, gather. You know how it is. All right, let y'all get in here. Make yourself seen. I got stuff ready to go. That's crazy. Just sharing, this stuff to the places. Hopefully y'all having a good day. As hot as all get up here. Somebody share. I'm sure somebody will share in the Discord, so I'm not gonna make that a priority. What's up? I'm listening. Great Dane. Make sure y'all check out Great Dane's. He's got a YouTube channel, so make sure y'all check it out. It's important we have diversity of thought out here, so make sure you check that out. Also, make sure you check out Marcus A. Brown. Yeah, he said he's in South Carolina. You dealing with that slave heat. Yeah. And yeah, so we're gonna the Priscilla one is technically after this one, but I'm gonna skip that one, and then I'm probably gonna save that one for last. Got to keep y'all listening somehow, right? Hustle that view time. Let's see. Just so we can start off on something pretty light while you all are in here and we're waiting, get some more people in here. I mean, y'all could always catch the replay, but I prefer you give the notification at least sometime to catch y'all. Yeah, man. Yeah, so I'm definitely gonna try to do more about putting some videos out here, some stuff on Patreon. I know I keep saying that it's not happening. There's a lot of stuff going on, and get some more stuff in here. As far as the live stream I did earlier, so technically this is a double take. As far as old dude, I actually listened to a video with Charles Rowe, his channel, and dude was on there. My name is Jeff. That's what I'm gonna start calling him. My name is Jeff, and yeah, he was answering a question about it was funny because chick is talking about equity, and it's like these people parrot stuff that they don't even know what it really means. And I got to keep it real. One thing I got to say that I pay attention to, and I've told you all, this is one thing that's an advantage of me having a lot of these conversations, especially with y'all. Y'all are day ones, and y'all been around for a minute. Y'all know if I've said something for real, or if I'm just, y'all know that it was stuff that I've been saying. And one thing that I have said is pay attention to people that add something to the conversation. I'm not talking like outside of his credentials. Pay attention to so if somebody's adding something to the conversation. clock that. Like I didn't know that there was, I've already told y'all about the towns is you can't get, or there's towns out there you can't get paternity without the woman's permission. But the other thing I didn't know either is this theorist thing about blank slate theory. Because I want you to really understand something. I want you to think about how bad it sounds. Imagine if men were out here saying that women are not doing what I think they should be doing. So I'm gonna create a policy that engineers, that grooms the engineers, or so. What? Well, first of all, I've been telling y'all about social engineering. Absolutely, absolutely. I'll start sharing your link up more. I've been I've been telling y'all. What have I been telling y'all? I have been telling you all about social engineering. That you got corporations are doing it. This is why you see all these commercials. They're trying to social engineer, and they're doing it in order to create a society that just people are buying stuff, just creating drones. Less educated people, more indoctrinated people. Um, people that are just buying stuff. Even with the Candace Owens, I didn't think about the taxing. You can tax a household twice because it's two incomes rather than one income. I didn't even think about that. So rather than you dealing with a one person that makes $100,000 a year and you have a household income, now you're dealing with two 50,000s, and so you're able to tax that twice on that revenue in that household. That didn't even, and look, I don't know everything, man. So I'm always out here looking to pick up, as they call it, game or new information. Candace Owens said that a black woman, there's a concern. I didn't think about the taxing people twice. I don't know why you don't hear more conservative talk about that. Obviously, the women are going to go along with it because anything that directly serves them selfishly, like, I mean, really, like, let's be clear here. Women, and some of this is biological or like, evolutionary, but women are definitely the more selfish sex. That's not even a question. So everything they say outside of especially when we're talking about men and women, adults, the only thing they're going to give is really children. They always talk about giving because when they got to give anything, it's like this Herculean task. You can look at Mother's Day versus Father's Day, as if mothers do more for their kids than fathers. You couldn't survive without mom. The reality is, we see what society that we're dealing with without men being where they are. So pay attention if somebody's adding new information, and that blank slate theory, that pretty much proves what I've been telling y'all about this social engineering. And notice how that only is addressed for the men. It's only like push for the men. It's not really the women. They give sugar. What they do with the women is basically giving them sugar, 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 and telling them to do what they already, their heart's desires. What is I hate to bring the Bible into it, but what does Satan do? He tries to get you with everything you desire. So if you look at women, it's just telling them to do what they always wanted to do. What are women being told? Like, the question I would ask you is, what are women being told to do that they don't want to do? Ideally, can you name me anything that the society is pushing women to do that they don't want to do? I'm not talking about what they always have. I'm talking about what the new stuff, last 20, 30 years. You can't name it. But we can talk about a whole bunch of adjustments men are supposed to make. They're releasing governors off. And so that blank slate theory from a certified trainer, licensed therapist, which, by the way, notice you don't hear no feminists talking about that because they know what that actually is. That's how you know they know what right and wrong is. You ain't never heard FD talk about that. You ain't never heard no academic, even on our side, talk about that. You ain't never heard, even BGS, I don't think it's brought that up. So my thing is, are you adding information that actually reinforces my argument? So I'm not no PhD or licensed therapist, but I'm definitely somebody who knows that likes to think that I'm telling the truth as I see it, as I see the truth, and that Blake Slate theory absolutely makes sense. It makes sense as to why you're constantly. It makes absolute sense, and he applied that when he was talking to her, because when she was talking about equity, she kept on talking about how men need to change because men have a rigid view of what being feminine is, which they really don't. Keep in mind, this light skinned chick is a chick that deals with black women, black men. Black men have the least rigid view of any race, bar none, especially African American men. You literally have the least rigid. You have the least rigid, and yet you're talking about it's too rigid. And again, that's blank. And he said it. That's, remember what I told you about blank slate theory, how feminism fundamentally believes in rewriting. And if men did that, you see what they doing with the, oh, you're a groom, you want to train them like a puppy. That's essentially what you've done to these boys. Even you hear, even when white women talk about boys being more emotional, even though they're not sexually attracted to that, pay attention to that. So, he's going to say something that I'm not going to like. Even when I was listening to that Charles thing, he was saying some stuff that it was one thing that, but he tied it all together. Cause when he starts getting into that the market thing, as far as, well, you got to deal with the market, but he further expounded upon that and talked about the global market. And a lot of the guys, like the purple pill guys, are the guys that they're going to like that dude because they can show their face and they can present it. But at the end of the day, there is nobody out here, including Andrew Tate and Fresh and Fit, what they call the devils, the axis of a quote unquote evil, or let's say the axis of misogyny. Ain't nobody, you won't see none of them two talking about you shouldn't have to do this or do that. Women should just do that. Nobody's saying that. Nobody is saying that. Nobody's saying that women should just follow your feet. In fact, that's a white. I'm not even gonna say white people are saying that, but the only group of men, like black men, definitely, that is nowhere in the black conversation. And so when people talk about, when you talk about a market, the women can only do what they do here, and he did bring that up. He said it in a different way. He said even other groups, he brought up kind of, he didn't say FBA, but he kind of alluded to the fact that other tribes in the diaspora don't really fool with black people like that. So you don't get the same benefits from an African or a Caribbean that you might necessarily get totally that you're going to get from a black man. And now that's not true. And he even told her, he said, black men are number 2 on the global marketplace. Depending on who you talking about, that may be different. But, and he said black women are at the bottom. He said it. And kept ad-libbing. He needs to stop doing that. Like, I get it, but he needs to stop doing that because you kind of messing up the flow, the bald-headed dude, even though I mess with him heavy. But my point is, so he tied everything together, and the chick was kind of rolling her eyes. She didn't want to hear that, but that's the truth. And the truth is, she ain't ugly. But this thing about you saying, like, you don't see nobody in this space, nobody talking about women that are attractive, women that can get the men that they want, telling them they need to come off what they're coming up. What we talk about is at the end of your outcomes. Because that's what they complain about. You're complaining about your outcomes, and we're telling you how you move leads to those outcomes. So at the end of the day, you are accountable to your outcomes. It's not that the men are the issue. The men that you want aren't doing what you want. They have the leverage based on where women collectively have put them in the market. That's what I've been saying. Currency. And it's not about whether it's right or wrong. I've told y'all that. That's why I don't sit here talking about women should pick certain men. You can do what you want to do, but it's not society's fault that you made the decisions you made. He came back to, obviously everybody knows about the college thing. Nobody is telling other than black women, is the only one telling these young girls, your mothers told y'all, go get a degree, don't worry about getting a man. That ain't the patriarchy didn't tell you that. Women told you that. And so where every other woman is trained a certain way, rather than picking up a game on how they move, y'all somehow the best men that y'all gonna have. But the truth is, if we're gonna be honest, let's be real. These women are out here having the reason why these women don't be really looking at black dudes for real like that while they're in college, because most of these black chicks are having sex with hood dudes. That's the thing that ain't being said. They having sex with somebody. They having sex with hood dudes. Hood and a lot of these HBCUs are surrounded by hoods. Ask me how I know. Tell me I'm lying. Because most of these HBCUs don't be having the money to be buying up the real estate around them like a lot of other schools. Heck, a lot of your some of your Ivy League schools are surrounded by hoods. I believe Yale is surrounded by a hood. So at the end of the day, that's the thing. In fact, I got a video I want to do talking about secrets, how the secrets that black men, but mainly black women have. There's a tax on your secrets. There's a guy that doesn't want to be named that was talking about his theory. I brought it up, a theory of a big reason why a lot of black women get triggered by seeing black men with white women or non-black women is because black men are still having sex with black women. They're just not marrying them. So it reminds them of their concubine side chick status that they've been regulated with. That's because you're playing the game. That's how y'all play the game that creates that outcome. That's not something black men are doing to you. You all say, I don't want to do. It's just like if you're trying to rise up to be an executive, there's certain things you have to do to be an executive. If you want to be like a contractor at a high level, if you're good at what you do, then yeah, people still deal with you. But if you want to be an executive, you're representing the company. So there's certain things you have to do. This is what a lot of black men didn't like about stuff that Kevin was saying about you're gonna have to get rid of your locks, even though you see a lot of dudes starting to get rid of them now because it ain't in fashion. You trendy ass niggas. Um, but they got mad about that. But Kevin was saying, if you want this position and you trying to be the exception to the rule, there's not a lot of exceptions there. And for black men, you already an exception no matter how you present based on you being black, especially in these high level institutions. Like you look at these Indians and a lot of these people in these tech companies, they don't sit there. They're not upsetting the apple cart. That's a lot of that Keisha and black women that they want to be different because they see it as you trying to conform to being white. Well, you don't want the job then. And so you need to look for different ways of how you make money. And so it's the same thing. Y'all get regulated to being side chicks because you want your independence. You don't want to belong to a dude, so you gonna be on the buy here the lease program. Y'all get mad because that leverage is manifest. That's on you, man. That's on you. That's on you. And a lot of this stuff is common. See, the reason why, with that Jeff dude and other people, it's common sense. What we're saying is not this like, oh my God, some of this stuff is common sense stuff if you get out of your feelings. But what I don't like is this narrative. I need to know who are the white and black manosphere people, but mainly like who are these people that are telling you you can be a lazy F and not and still get women. Even white boys aren't that entitled. Even with traveling, there's this like narrative. 'Cause y'all see that when I do that video with Marty, there's this narrative that dudes are out here looking for. Yeah, man, you traveling looking for love. What does that even mean? As opposed to you niggas tricking here, or you dudes dealing with ugly women here, or you dudes just getting a chick pregnant and you not doing that on your terms. You letting a woman dictate that, letting these women play games with you. What about that dude Cheyenne was with? Is supposedly with Cheyenne Bryant. This 33. Is he looking for love? Being with a 42-year-old? Like that's some little boy stuff. Real talk. At 33, that's some little boy stuff. It's one thing if you like 25 and under. Once you get like 33, it's like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? It ain't like she paying you. If she ain't paying you, what are you doing? And even if she is it worth it? I mean, BGS was talking about with Tracy Ellis Ross, you're going to get access to connections. You're not getting that type of stuff with her, with Cheyenne. What are you doing? And then you got her on TV talking about you're emotionally insecure. Like the fact that she's even bold. I don't care if you don't know who it is. The fact that the fact that she's willing to play your face, because on the ground he's emotionally insecure. No, you're emotionally manipulative. That's what that is. And you playing games with yourself, because ultimately he's 33. As soon as he wakes up, as long as he don't get you pregnant, as soon as he wakes up out of that, he could go ahead and live his life, and you just gonna be 42 and got to restart with a new young YN. That ain't got no 5 years investment. You gotta think, like, fool, you went from 28 to 33, and that means he got with her when she was 37. Dude, you should have had if you was that caught up, you should have had a good year hitting that thing and then leaving it alone. And only dealing with her on your terms. Because clearly, if you still around her, then that means you probably having sex with her good. You probably doing proper plumbing. Clearly. Because everything else she would be seen with you. That's that. What was that dude that was on Insecure? Not Lawrence. It was the other dude, Daniel. Don't let her play you like that. She too comfortable. He's emotionally insecure. That's a fill in the blank, which is a lie. That's not what it is. That's not what it is. Because I promise you, if he was famous or he was connected, he was 1 degree separation from somebody famous, or if he had hella money, that wouldn't matter. Anyway, y'all, before we get started, we're gonna start something fun. This is from the AI alley, alley around the corner. This is called
number 6 pick in the military draft.
This is called this is AI. This is not one I did. This is something somebody else did. This is called the YN military draft. So if the military was drafting young niggas, this is the draft. So let's go.
With the number 6 pick in the military draft, the Air Force selects Run It Up Lil Ant, Atlanta, Georgia.
Pure playmaker, finesse player, but hustles when needed. A true two-way currency creator.
Decision-making needs work, but knows when to share the wealth and when not to.
Ron? Thanks, guys. I'm live at a Chase Bank in Atlanta. I talked to Ant. He showed me a quick way to make money, but now my account's negative. I can't find him. It's been hours, and he has my info.
With the number 6 pick in the military draft, the Air Force selects Run It Up Lil Ant, Atlanta, Georgia.
Pure playmaker, finesse player, but hustles when needed. A true two-way currency creator.
Decision-making needs work, but knows when to share the wealth and when not to.
Ron? Thanks, guys. I'm live at a Chase Bank in Atlanta. I talked to Ant. He showed me a quick way to make money, but now my...
11th pick of the... With the 11th pick of the military draft, the Army selects Walk 'Em Down, Davian.
He's a bit unpredictable, but he's got all the tools. He's a threat from deep. He can drive, walk up, he can steal. At 11, that's great value.
With the 11th pick of the military draft, the Army selects Walk 'Em Down, Davian.
He's a bit unpredictable, but he's got all the tools. He's a threat from deep. He can drive, walk up, he can steal.
I'm sorry, that music be killing me. And it's like I think they had like part 12. Let me know if y'all want to see more of that. I need to do AI reactions because this stuff is too funny, man. Walk them down. All right, let's listen. So now we got like 70 people in here. All right, we're gonna jump. Yeah, the AI is crazy. Yeah, man, they got it's a couple out here. Yeah, I've seen the Ultima one. I'd be mad. I ain't gonna lie. If I was Ultima, I'd be mad because the thing about it is you got black like if you somebody that's Nissan, it's like, yo, man, these chicks, because thing about it is a Maxima and an Ultima, I mean, they're good looking cars, man, but you just Jesus, man, not good branding, man. It's like a joke at this point. Yeah, I think you do. You need, like, Air Force ain't no joke. Shout out to, I know Skylar's in the Air Force, There's a couple of people in the space that was in the Air Force that recently retired. Yeah. So it's a lot of them now. Yeah, it's a lot of them. Yeah, most dudes are gonna have a Maxima. My brother actually he has a white Ultima. I'm gonna keep it real with you. Them Genesis cars are fire. Like them Genesis SUVs are fire. The problem is if you're gonna pay that money for that, you get something else. But them cars are good. They don't even call them Hyundai; they just call them Genesis, like it's its own brand, which is smart. Hyundai, it's almost like Hyundai and Genesis, like the American version, which is smart. You got them Kias look good. I ain't even gonna front. Them Kias look good. Them Kias look good. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I mean, a lot of them do. Yeah, Lexus. I ain't buy Lexus. Too expensive, man. I ain't getting no Lexus. There's too many other things I could get. There's too many other things I could get a Lexus. I'm just not. But I got multiple cars though, man. But anyway, all right. Let's go through this. Shout out to Nate for the $50 Cash App. I know he said y'all. I didn't even look at the comments. He said y'all had a lot of good things to say. We're gonna deal with this chick with the crazy makeup. Yeah, but I don't see a lot of sisters driving Optimus. I'm talking about the new ones, like the last 2 years. And you know how black people are. They don't be getting like the brand new stuff.
Okay, so
let's see. We can clock this at 26 minutes is where we got started. Let me write this down. 26 men when we started. That way I can just timestamp it.
you say that women are more fulfilled at home with kids than going out into the workforce or getting educated, but that just really doesn't bear out when you look at the stats, when you look at how working mothers are way less likely to be in poverty. Maternal education is the #1 predictor of childhood outcomes, better scores.
I mean, that's crazy. Working mothers are less likely to be in poverty. Anybody with a job with a job is going to be less likely to be in poverty than without a job. If you're not working, then you're supposed to be in a household with a man that is working. I don't what scenarios are we talking about? So you telling me there's a scenario where you got two people in the house where they're not working? First of all, you're not getting Section 8 ain't even like that anyway, but you're not getting Section 8 if a man is there. You got a man there, whether he's working or not. So you know, usually so what are we talking about? Like, Jesus.
Getting higher incomes in the future, fewer behavioral problems, better mental health. So it's weird to me.
So she's literally comparing, if they're not working, then that means the man is taking care of the bills. You can't survive without that. Even if you're on Section 8, you got to have some money coming in somewhere. EBT and what are you talking about? Child support, you ain't getting paid like that. So that's why I keep saying they be throwing stuff out, but it's like you got to paint these scenarios because y'all just be throwing stuff out like, yeah, man, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, of course. It's like saying, black men that are in an apartment are way happier than black men that are homeless. Better mental stress. It's like, yeah, I bet it is.
And college-educated women are least.
Remember, she waited all this time to say this.
Likely to get divorced, and they're the only women. The top 10% of women are the only women whose marriage rates are going up. So they're.
This chick. some of Candace Owens micro expressions is so fucking fun. Yo, yeah. Did this chick just say that college-educated women are least likely to get divorced? Yo, what GPT did you use so I know not to use it? What website did you get this information so we can get it banned? Because they did you wrong. I feel bad for you. They got you up here. The information you saying is as crazy as your makeup, man.
Getting married, they're staying married, and their kids are doing better. When you look at stay-at-home mothers, you see that they're more likely to report being depressed. They're more likely to report having anxiety and anger and all these types of things. So how can you say...
Yo, where did you get this information from? So now she's comparing, where did you get this information from?
That seems like... A woman, if you want to get married and have kids, you should go to college and have a career.
So it sounds to me like we are looking at totally different statistics because everything that you said, I've actually read the exact opposite.
I'm glad we're on a fact check show with you.
Right, exactly.
Oh, it's so exciting.
That's going to be.
Yes, and Candace has been, trust me, the only thing, look, this is what y'all don't, The only thing Candace be bullshitting on is race. That's where she be full of shit, and she low key admitted that. So, she that like the other stuff she don't be lying about because she don't have to. Candace got paid to bullshit on race. Candace don't be no. Candace was absorbing her bullshit. That's what she was. What she was. Candace has these like little techniques, these debating techniques. So because she's on film, and that way she doesn't disclose like that's what that is. That's a technique. Just like when Tariq Nasheed repeats stuff over and over, he does that so he's not saying and ah. He did. That's a technique to find another thought. I actually need to start doing that when I do my video uploads. So his thought, so he's not having that's what that is. Y'all think that's some West Coast thing. I mean, it may be, but it's also a technique.
Amazing. Okay. Because I know, like I said, I think what we're talking about is that there was this widespread report on female happiness. And I know.
And the problem is, too, and here's what was really messing y'all up. She knows these reports. So she's making y'all look extra dumb when she's not only saying the statistics are different, that she's actually calling out the reports you got your information from. That's the thing. That's the extra thing with it.
That it was formally debunked, and it was.
That's not what I'm talking about. Pew Research, right. University of California. In fact, working mothers today spend more time with their children than women did in the 1960s that were at home.
Okay, well, women that are at home are obviously spending more time with their.
Like that's math. That's. We have 24 hours in a day. We sleep 6 to 8 hours. 8 hours you should. 7 hours, okay. 6 hours, what a lot of people do. 6 hours, that's 18. You're working at least 8 hours. If you have a career, we're talking about commuting too. They're not working from home. We're talking about commuting. Usually we're talking about getting ready to go to work, commute. It's like an hour at least. So getting ready for work, going to work, before you clock in, that's at least an hour. Really, it's probably an hour and a half. Because remember, we're dealing with women. But whatever. Coming home, then winding down. That's assuming you're just working 8 hours. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? That's like, are you serious?
Children and the people who are at work.
And their
today.
children are not faring off any better, and they're faring off worse.
How are you measuring their children faring off worse?
How likely they are to higher incomes, better scores, fewer health problems, fewer behavioral issues, and better mental.
So the just to get back to the claim that I'm making here is that it is obvious that women who have children are going to be more fulfilled.
How is that obvious? Because you said so?
No, it's not obvious because I said so. It's because when you look at all the statistics in terms.
The problem is these chicks want to argue with the person and not with the facts. And honestly, like that's crazy. It's like you first of all, you're talking about all these stats, and it's very obvious that she has a premise she wants to prove, and she pretty much looks for only the information that's going to tell her what she wants to hear, and she disregards everything, because what you're saying is stuff that anybody with a PhD would not be in front of other people with PhDs in public saying, because then they wouldn't have that PhD. There's a reason why you don't have people saying all the stuff she said in one post, because what she's saying is not correct. And that's what I'm saying. I told y'all, you can't argue with belief. You can't argue with belief. If you decide to believe that you can fly, I mean, you can't argue with that until somebody jumps.
Of women who are choosing not to have families, they are, as the person who just sat here before you mentioned, they are suffering from more depression. They're suffering from more anxiety. And
that's not true.
Okay.
And by the way, other women, other feminists that's been up here before you have already acknowledged these things. So you're not just disagreeing with Candace, you're disagreeing with other feminists. They've already acknowledged it. So you're not on here first. So you just saying it's not true doesn't make it not true. And this is what I'm saying. Like, yo, that's dangerous. Cause like that's really low key dangerous, yo.
It is true. It is actually true that women who are choosing their careers over starting families are finding themselves leaning more onto medicines like Xanax, anxiety-inducing medicines, and depression because they suspended that time frame where women really should be looking to find a partner and to start a family because they were instead pursuing their careers.
And why are they better off?
It is a dishonest, it is totally a dishonest narrative that men and women want the same things out of life. We don't. We absolutely do not want the same things out of life. In fact, we don't even measure success the same. Men and women don't even measure success the same.
So,
okay?
but
First of all, that dude in there was I'm not even gonna jump on the haircut. It's like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, you know, like he has these looks like what? Like you already had your chance. Like we don't. And again, that blank slate theory thing, that completely redoes the canon. That completely makes everything make sense. That makes a lot of through lines and why they think the way they think. Because I'm gonna keep it real. That's how insidious this is. I gotta go research that on my own and really get gained up on that. But that's how insidious this is, that they're not honest about that theory. Because if there were, then you get a lot more women coming off of their BS. If that's what I don't know. Just because he said it don't make it true. But if that's what they're coming off of, and that's what these people are getting this information from, that's some real insidious shit.
Tell me how the women who are working and getting educated, why are they faring off better in all of these?
I am telling you that I do not believe they are faring off better in all of these measures.
Because of what?
I am telling you that we are looking at totally opposite statistics. Like, so you're sitting here telling me that the statistics show that women who are working are producing better children. But I am saying that women that grow up in a two-family home where the mother stays at home are faring off better than the children who are being raised in an environment.
Because then what you have to understand, first again, you got daycare. It's like, what are you talking about? Like what are we talking? Like, have you seen these children? Have you seen these kids in the education system? This is crazy.
Where the women are working?
Where both of the parents are working away from the home. I do get to work from home.
No. But
that's the irony.
I've watched your show. You talk about all the nannies you hire, and it's so hard to find a good nanny.
I talked about all of the nannies I hire.
See, the problem is she's making it about Candace. That's the thing. It's not about the argument. It's about Candace. And that's the problem with women. Women want to argue you down. And you see this is very pronounced when they're arguing with other women. See, when there's a man there, now it's about the man and the patriarchy and all this other bullshit, versus you see how goofy this shit is when they're arguing with another woman. When you're dealing with a woman, she's got, we could throw race in there too. How, like, could you imagine if Candace got an attitude and all of that? Like, you see how monotone she has to, this is exactly what men have to do. How monotone they have to be. This extra emotional turbo intelligence you have to have, because you have to worry, like, where she can just be all over the fucking place, arguing, being the man that she thinks men are. Even though if men argue this way, if they're both heterosexual, this will be an absolute problem. Like, you don't, and see, one of the things with this too is I hope these women that are surrounding get the look. This is how you all fucking sound and look.
Yeah,
I spoke about how difficult it was to find a babysitter who knew how to cook a meal, and that's because
you don't need a babysitter. You could retire right now.
You have to let people respond to you when they're speaking.
You don't want to
respond to you.
You don't want to. You want to be working, which is great.
You're telling me what I want now, and then accusing me of telling you.
Wait, you don't want to work?
Can you just let me finish? Because you've said so many words that
this takes a lot. I don't have, like, I'm gonna keep it real. I don't have Candace Owens' discipline. This takes a lot of discipline. This is very impressive, even for a woman. This is why Candace is very difficult to deal with, because you really got to know your shit. I saw a couple of argue, like, where her and Destiny was going back and forth, and Destiny would do, and it's funny because Destiny would purposely say some off the wall shit that's not true, that he knew was not true, just to try to throw her off a little bit. And he would argue it as if, like, it was true, and then be like, I'm just playing. And Destiny's good enough at making real arguments that for a little bit that you may question, like like, because his confidence in what he says, if you don't know what you're talking about, that's a tactic. And it didn't work. He said something about student loans, like student loan debt, and how to pay it and how much student loan debt. And it was funny because you're kind of getting, like, you're kind of, I'm not saying getting to Candace, but you're like moving the needle a little bit if she starts laughing a little bit. Because at least that's not really enough, but you're kind of doing something. And Destiny, whether he's right or wrong, he knows how to debate. And Destiny's not somebody that pops off either. So when you're dealing with like people like that, like what's his name, Anthony Brian Logan is like that too. When you're dealing with people that their arguments are sharp, you can't come at them with that. You gotta have patience. You can't come at them with that bullshit. Like, you just can't. You can't. It's not gonna work. I remember Anthony Brian Logan used to come to our space, and yeah.
What you're trying to do here, like your argument style, is I'm going to say.
I mean, I can handle the chick, but the thing is, she would get on my fucking nerves. It would be, I can't talk to dumb bitches, and this chick is so misinformed. She's stupid. Like, I can't. If somebody tells me if I get hit by a car, if you get hit by a car, it's gonna bounce off of me because I'm strong. Because I can't. I'm gonna mentally shut down on you because I'm like, I'm wasting my fucking time. Like, honestly, I'm looking at the venue for why did you let somebody stupid like this in here? So it's not about whether you can handle it or not. If you're dealing with people that they believe in magic, fairy tale, and pixie dust, what like I'll give you an example. If you're talking to somebody that believes in flat earth theory, because you can literally see the curvature of the earth, if you're looking at the horizon and stuff like that. You can handle it, but you're assuming that we're basing the same reality. See, when you deal with a situation like that, the way I would deal with it, if I'm not gonna pop off, is recognizing there's an audience here. There's people watching, like, as far as panel, and my job is to get my opinion off. People that's gonna agree. People that's not, it's gonna not. And then understand it. That's all I can do. It's not about beating him. It's about making sure I get my point very clear. And then, and as far as undermining their point, because I'm not here to undermine people's point. If I agree with it, I agree with it. But if they're talking about, because Kyrie Irving's a flat earth theory. Oh, Jesus Christ. He goes to Duke, but he was a flat earth theory. B.O.B. is a flat earth theorist. What was the dude that used to be on Vlad? Lord Jamar's a flat earth theorist. You can't argue with these niggas, man. I'm not arguing that shit, man. Just like when people talk about women are women, I'm not arguing that. I'm just not. I don't get paid enough for that. I don't get paid enough for that. And my thing is, if you really believe that, why don't you chop it off, man?
So much, not let her get a word in, and then walk away and feel like I've won. We're not having a conversation because you've not letting me respond to one of your points. Okay. What I am saying to you, first to answer what you just said, which was a lie, what I spoke to you about on the weekends is that it's been increasingly difficult to find a 25-year-old who even knows how to make boxed macaroni and cheese, right? And that's crazy. That is in large part due to feminism. Women don't even focus. Like there's this idea.
That is due to feminism. That is absolutely due to feminism. Because that is due to feminism. And these people, the way they're arguing this is they're arguing this like their jobs, like their jobs are about to be taken away today. And it's crazy because if you actually have a conversation, here's the thing they won't do. Why don't you ever hear women? Why aren't there ever women? Why aren't y'all ever talking to women that are 50 years old? Because every woman can't be an executive. Every woman can't be in middle management. Why are you all not talking to women that are like in their late 40s, 50s, 60s? The initial wave of women that actually worked like this. That's why when these women give these looks, and notice how a lot of them are young, it's like you all do not, I said this in the last stream, you don't have the perspective. You all assume a lot of stuff is going to happen that's not going to happen. You all assume these things. They assume they're ideal. I'm going to be this and in a high rise into this. AI came. No, you're not, bitch. No, you're not. No, the fuck you're not. And my brother automation is coming for them niggas. But I said, I'm the female version, so I'm coming first. Girl power.
Idea that women shouldn't be cooking, like there's something fundamentally wrong with women even learning how to cook.
Are you,
know what I
spending
mean?
as much time with your children as you possibly can? Because that's the way to.
That has nothing to do with more than corporate women. This is why you can't talk. This whole stream is a perfect example, exhibit A of why you cannot talk to women. And corporations have weaponized this. And a lot of these chicks that are quiet, did they go quietly in the night and they don't call this crap out? You all are the real demons. Because you keep this stuff reproducing itself. And now it's gotten to the point where society is cracking. And here's the truth. The truth is the alpha girls that are coming out, the alpha generation, are going to suffer their entire life because of what millennials, Xers, and boomers did. You're going to lose an entire generation.
Get the most fulfillment.
No, and that's what I'm trying to say. I am speaking to you
So
as
then stop.
Okay, could you please let somebody get in?
I did.
Like this shit. And notice how they're putting the flags. Notice how these flags are not going up fast enough. It's because they want her to get that work because they like this shit. They like this shit. They like this shit. This is how they argue. And the reality is you would never do this at work. You would never pull this bullshit at work because you would be fired if you did this shit.
Let you finish.
You're not. You
I
actually
did.
have not let anybody finish. And like I said, it's no one benefits when you're just speaking over me and not allowing me to respond. All you're proving is that you have an attitude and you believe in feminism, but you're not. See, that's what I'm saying. You just have an attitude, and it's not cute. It's performative.
I love
I'm
if you
actually
address my point. I will be quiet if you address my point.
Does anybody actually feel here that I am being allowed to address any of her points when she just keeps running over me? Like I'm literally trying to answer your first point of you saying that I don't stay at home.
Yeah,
fair point.
This is what's crazy. What's crazy is, and what I would say to these other feminists is, you let somebody like that represent your point of view. That's why the flags are going up slow. Like, at the end of the day, you talk about arguing men down. Ultimately, men have a monopoly on force. You know, we can play that game too. And ultimately, regardless of how people feel about it, that's the game the world plays. There's a reason why women aren't sent to do nothing when it comes to, playing geopolitical monopoly. So just like how you got your mouth, that can be turned off real quick. And people can say, oh, you're going to violence because you get, no. Any man like this chick, I don't know what ethnicity she is. I don't think she's white. She would never get in front of men around her family running her mouth not like this. She would be removed from the environment. And when I say removed, I mean she would just be escorted out. She remember, she ain't black. These only black women got these true matriarchies like that. White women got to be more subterfuge to do that crap. Quite frankly, women should be disgusted looking at this, but they're laughing. But seriously, do you think this actually makes feminism look good? This is what it is. This white Keisha. Does this make feminism look good? Does this make your point of view look good? Seriously.
Really weird. Fair point.
And I can't even argue what she's saying, because all she's doing is saying 1 + 1 is 5 because I said so. I'm a woman and I said so. I'm a woman and I said so. So it's because you say so. Keep in mind, I bet you this chick don't. Do you have children? No. Are you married? No. Do you even have a college degree? We don't know.
Obviously, I get that you're all anti-Candace and pro-feminist, but also it's not productive if you're not actually.
Okay, address the point. You spend more time saying that I'm not addressing, that you don't have a chance to talk the whole time.
Because the problem is Candace is not going to argue with you like that. That's the problem. Like what you want is you want to create an argument, and she's not going to give you the satisfaction of doing that because unlike you, she actually has a career and she's trying to be clipped. This chick is fishing for a clip. They try to pull this shit with Andrew too, and Andrew's smart enough to deal with it. Like Myron would have just Frank Castle. This is like trying to be Frank Castle. And this is where you just start. And at the end of the day, you see how stupid you look. See, the problem is she does this with men, and men get flustered, and then she can be a victim if somebody takes that to the next level. This will work on a lot of people.
You could have addressed the point. Okay. You could have talked.
I
go for it.
Just want you to know that you're not coming across as somebody who wants to actually have a conversation. So to get back to the claim, because I don't even.
I mean, this dude is like.
Even know where you're at.
Again, it's like, yo, these people are so biased. It's beautiful.
You're now talking. You're saying that I said stuff in my podcast.
I'll go wherever you want to go.
I never said.
I'll go wherever.
So do you want to start with me working at home? Because I work at home. You just said something about me working at home.
You travel all around the world.
Okay,
This sounds like jealousy to me.
You do speeches, and I love that. I love how ambitious you are. That's a really great trait. And if you were truly said that, you would be more fulfilled. Now, one thing you do find is women, they don't want to stay at home when you pull them. They just want flexible working hours and flexible working conditions. Like,
yeah, but the problem is men don't get that. Like what are you talking about? Like, you all want a society built around you that you all don't build and maintain. That's not happening. And not because I'm saying it's not, because dudes are literally walking off. Kids are walking off before they even become teenagers. You want flexible working hours. These corporations didn't put you in these jobs. Look, let me keep it real. If you want all that, you can take your ass back home. These corporations did not put you in these jobs to have these flexible working hours. They like, yo, I can automate your job. See, AI isn't asking for this, and AI doesn't have children. And I can control the voice that AI gives me.
You have. And I think we should.
Again, Candace had to create that. Everybody has that opportunity, but that requires risk. See, that's that equity crap.
We should all advocate for that. It's not one or the other. But when you sit here and you go, you'll be more fulfilled doing this and spend all your time doing that, we would love for you to leave the public eye and go focus on what makes you fulfilled.
The funny thing is they keep saying that public eye crap, but it's like if your argument, it wouldn't matter if your argument actually stood on shit. For real. I don't know if Pearl could handle this. Not this long. Pearl maybe will handle like 5 or 6 of these, but I don't think Pearl can handle this, not 20.
Okay.
I mean, and the fact that they're clapping, like this is what you think is gonna run shit, like for real. And I'd be like, man, like for real. I want to know what ethnicity is. She might be like Hispanic. These are a whole bunch of like, oh man.
Hey, before we go any.
All right, so I'm skipping the Priscilla one because I don't even want to hear Priscilla, especially after all of that. Well, I'll go back to Priscilla, but we're not gonna. It really was a lot. It was embarrassing. I mean, could you imagine a man like having a woman having to sit there and talk to a man, like a man having to do that, like all this mansplaining bullshit? This is how you know they don't believe that shit. This is how you know they don't believe in that for real. That's just some shit they're trying to tell men not to do. But they'll sit there and woman-splain your ass all day without making no sense. Essentially, all she did was bitch for like, I know I cut it off a lot, but like for 5 minutes straight, she just bitched. Bitch. That's all she did. And it's like, bitch, I'm not your fucking boyfriend.
Hi. How are you?
Great to meet you. I'm doing
Very
well.
nice to meet you.
So I view this argument as a matter of fact, right? This is a descriptive claim about the culture, reality we live in, and patriarchy being a system in which men hold the predominance of power.
Yeah, Priscilla was there. I skipped hers. I'll come back to it. Well, if she's Persian, like, let's keep it real with you. She ain't doing that around her family. She'll get a rock thrown at her.
Power in both political, economic, and social methods of organization. So S&P 500 companies, 90% of CEOs are men. Board members, 70% of CEOs are men. 70% of congressional members are men. Now, you may provide some sort of naturalistic argument to why that is, but what you're essentially arguing then is that there's a natural patriarchy, which I think feminists would all disagree with.
There is a natural patriarchy because nation states have to compete with each other. We don't live any we don't live the global civilization today is not like, what do you call it, egalitarian? It's not. It's nation states. Do you understand history since way before World War I and II? But what are you talking about? You see what we're dealing with China. You think China is not a patriarchy? All these patriarchies are closing the gap. And we've lost ground playing this experiment with these females.
We think that there's a clear social pressure as to why this is. And part of the evidence for that is since feminism's...
the problem is feminism doesn't produce anything. That's the problem. What has feminism actually produced? And I bet you if she asked him that, they won't be able to say shit. They'll be able to talk about freedoms and all this other bullshit. What has feminism actually produced? Well, you know, when they worked in the factories and all, you did that as a result because the men had to go to war. So you filled in the gap. Sure, that's not feminism, no. Well, the problem is war. The problem is we have nation states that we have to compete against.
Arise within our public culture. We've now seen an explosion of women entering these fields, but we have a long way to go. But
we haven't seen an explosion. It's been engineered that way. The women are not out competing the men. The women are being given these jobs. That's the thing. See, the problem is to have these arguments. It is to say that the children are smarter today than they were 10 years, 15, 20 years ago. That they're more mature today than they were 20, 30 years ago. That's not true. That's not true. And so it's like, it's like these you're just supposed to go with it because women don't bitch. But this stuff is not true. In fact, we're actually starting to be honest about it because you got other countries knocking at your. There's a reason you import all these fucking immigrants when it comes to the H-1B1 visas. Hell, there's a reason you import immigrants when BGS was talking about it when it comes to construction. This was engineered. This wasn't, oh, well, women just did well because they were holding women back and they broke that down. No, they engineered it this way. That's why they call it equity and they don't call it equality, because equality is more merit-based. Equality is equality of an opportunity. Equity doesn't mean merit. But see, I don't want to talk about that.
Fundamentally, the claim regarding patriarchy or matriarchy, we are so much...
Oh, he said the thing. I'll give him credit. He said the thing. At least he's that honest. He said the thing. I mean, he's giving an honest try.
Much closer.
And notice how he looks the most normal.
To where we were just a few decades ago, or a couple generations.
What few decades ago? A few decades ago was 1990. What are we talking about?
Ago, where women couldn't hold a credit card, then a system.
I mean, y'all keep playing this credit card. Bitches couldn't have debt either. Like, what are we talking about with that credit card shit? Like, let's really talk about women not having credit cards. Look, the majority of student loan debt is women. Majority of consumer debt is women. They didn't give women credit cards because they wanted women to be empowered. They gave women credit cards so they could wealth transfer. Now, I'm not against women having credit cards, but be fucking honest as far as why they gave it to them. Remember, these men, they control way more of the environment, right, than they do now, right? Let women off these credit cards. They call it empowerment. But really what they wanted y'all to do was spend, because they understand that women are way more vulnerable to advertising. And I know this is a marketer. Women are way more vulnerable to advertising, buying stuff they don't need that really is worthless outside of how you feel about it than men are. This is not to say men are not vulnerable to it too, but we tend to buy different things. In fact, that's a good ChatGPT. What is the percentage of consumer debt that men hold versus women hold? I'm gonna fact check myself. Okay, I'm gonna fact check myself. So I typed in the chat GPT. I typed in the chat GPT, what is the percentage of consumer debt that men hold versus women? As of most recent available data, men tend to hold slightly higher consumer debt than women overall. Hold on. But the difference varies depending of type of debt. Here's a general breakdown, blah, blah, of the Federal Reserve. Men have 55%, women 45%. This is a general estimate. Actual averages may vary depending on your region. Hold on one second. What it said was additional context. Women tend to have slightly better credit scores on average, despite holding less total debt. Men have higher average income, which explains the capacity to carry more overall debt. And another thing it said, hold on. Men tend to hold more in total, but women often carry higher balances relative to income, which is what I'm talking about. Not the total number. What's the percentage? Men tend to have more financially expensive vehicles. Okay. Women hold about two-thirds of student loan debt of degrees they don't use. Men tend to have more expensive vehicles with depreciating in value, but still have a worth to it, which, is better than consumer debt. And on average, men have larger mortgages. Remember they said single women have houses and all of that? Personal loans roughly equal, usually equal between the genders. Women, blah, 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 blah. Debt stress tends to impact women more due to wage disparities and care. Yep. So that was my main point. My main point is that women have a much more stressful position.
Men can't hold the credit.
So the point is women, and if you look at that, yeah, there's a total number. Okay. Yeah, I ain't gonna go that deep into it, but put that in the Discord, put that in the status Discord if you find it when you get the chance, and then I'll share it.
We're still much closer to that form of society.
Why would you say that we're closer to that? What do you mean by that? To just qualify that?
Because in terms of economic power, so for example, household wealth, women own 55 cents to every dollar a man owns.
Who controls household spending, though? So we talk about how the money's made in America. How is it being spent? Who spends it?
So it's primarily spent by women, as you've noted, but then the money where the profit's being generated, it's being generated by men.
Would you rather be?
That's because the men are creating the businesses and they're creating shit that women want to buy. Women can do this. Selena Gomez, Jessica Alba, Kendall Jenner, Rihanna. There's plenty of women that like what are we talking about? That's because women aren't creating businesses like that. They're not. I'm talking about real business. And let's be clear here. Selena Gomez, all those people I named, there's men that are creating the operations of those businesses. They just use those women. Those women just have like 49 or 50. They're like 49% market share. So they get a much more higher percentage of the dollar for dollar sales versus somebody that's just a sponsor of a product. Kudos to them for negotiating that based on their names. I'll give those women credit. But when it comes to the day-to-day, how these businesses are really operated, they pick some things. They may have, obviously they have to do with products, how the product and stuff that represents them. I'll give them that credit. But when it comes to like, and to be fair, most of your Fortune 500 companies, it's not like Jeff Bezos. I mean, yeah, Jeff Bezos make decisions, but the way these startups are done, you have these, just like how you have law firms, you have what's called business consulting, these consulting firms. Like Duke has heavy recruitment out of them. If you come out of the Duke School of Business, this is how you actually get started. You know, this is like you know, in these consulting firms that actually build these startups, build these or not necessarily the startups, but when they want to go from startup to actual Fortune 500 company that you see, like when Uber, when they really ramp up, that's who's building their structure, their HR policies and stuff. So it happens with men too, but the reality is those are usually men doing that work too. So yeah.
The people that are spending and deciding on what the money's being spent on, or would you rather be the person that's just working to earn that?
Well, CEOs and board members aren't working; they own the shares, and
Right.
they're making the.
Yeah, but again, what percentage? See, that's where that becomes bullshit, because it's like that's a very small percentage of people in general. What are you talking about, man? What? And most of the women that get it, they get it by inheritance. What are you talking about? What bitch invented something like for real, man? Like, look at the top companies. Like, come on, man. Like, is it FedEx, the CEO of FedEx fault? What about Jeff Bezos? What about Bill Gates? See the dude who created Steve Jobs. Like, what the fuck are we talking about, man? See, that's that equity. That's that equity bullshit. And yeah, CEOs do work.
Yeah, well, when you own it, profit is making.
You would much in a capitalist system, by definition, you would much rather be making the profit than spending.
I would much rather be spending your money than having to work for your money. Just so we are totally clear here, I would much rather spend your money than have to go out and earn your money.
Well, you're talking about wage laborers in terms of working, but in terms of
no, I'm speaking about spending power, right?
Yeah,
but what he's not understanding is the advertising, the social engineering, all of that is to basically cater to women, because women, for dollar per dollar ad spend, you're going to get a lot more for your money ad spend if you target women. This is why your whole, I told you, it's like economic mind control. Dudes actually start to believe some of this stuff because it's economically feasible to do it. This is why you have to have you can't base what's right or wrong as far as in your pocket. I mean, yes, you may have an industry that you're making money in and you do what you got to do. Even then, I'll still tell you there's a way to do it without selling out. This is what selling out is called. That's what that is. But I mean, Candace did it with race. She said what she wanted to say, knowing that's bullshit. I'm not saying Candace doesn't have a certain issues with African American culture, as you know, there are problems, but she chose to use that out of context because she knows it makes money. She admitted to that. So this guy is basically, it's like, dude, you really don't. The problem is you all don't understand why these things are here. You assume they're here because men did it. Like, the reality is, if men, like it's the men that are letting the women do it. You act like women are not pushing for anything. The men are actually letting this stuff go because the elites are using this as class warfare, and the women are too dumb to understand that until their sexual marketplace value is done. And who they're going to argue against? Because, by the way, the men still control the airwaves. So, and women are going to argue you down, because if you speak against feminism, their religion, they're going to see you as angry and mad. They'll argue with you just like they do Candace.
Sure. Okay.
But that matters. If 85% 85 cents of every dollar, how that's being spent, is being determined by women, that's power. That we can't say spending power is not power.
Why do you think that is the case? It's because women are often relegated to the role of doing grocery shopping, etc.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Like, what are you talking about? Women buy a lot. You should have said makeup. That's bullshit too, but you'd have been better off. What the fuck?
Right, because
women buy a lot more shit. fuck do these hoes not buy? What are you talking about?
For millennia
So food is 85% of your spending power.
now, or from millennia up until now, women were unable to enter the workforce and have economic, political
so
freedom.
let's get into the reasons, because you brought up something that men are.
And again, women had power. This is bullshit that women could own slaves. See, and the sad part about it is for black women to like click up with this. This is crazy, man. Y'all really like you really did not understand. Like, and BGS talks about how women made an executive decision and thought they would go, yeah, and they need to pay the price for that.
Are the people that are at the top of these companies, these Fortune 500 companies,
and political power.
You're absolutely right. Why is that?
It's primarily because the women haven't broken the ceiling quite yet in terms of meeting men in terms of parity with these sort of powers. But what we've seen with the explosion of feminism,
they haven't broken the ceiling. Donald Trump won because women put him there. White women. Donald Trump won the first time because white women put him there. Donald Trump got more of the white woman vote than fucking Mitt Romney when his wife had fucking cancer. Nobody wants to have that conversation.
is that women have actually begun to enter.
I would love to blow. I would love to basically take this dude out and end his conversation by saying no. Let me tell you why. These same men wanted to create a class. They wanted to control men, and they're using women to do it. That's the real truth.
These companies have, risen into both political and economic positions of power, but that continues to grow year by year, which shows that these social pressures are actually breaking apart as soon as feminism comes into play.
So what I would say is what
women,
that shows you is
values.
that women and men have different interests. And I think this gets into what I was saying, that just because you see a disparity does not mean that it's not just a disparity in what our interests are. That's what
correlation is not causation. And again, so this is what I will say. This dude has been this is what I'm gonna say with this guy. This guy has been miseducated, but he is actually a good example of the type of person that white men need to go after. Because that's their job. He's not our job. He's actually a good example of the type of dude that their arguments need to reach, because this guy has been miseducated. He clearly does not know. He clearly does not have a true grasp. What he assumes is feminism is good because women says so. It's very obvious that there's no. This is how I would deal with him. I would say, okay, let's start here. Now, obviously, she's arguing the thing that she said about what she said. And by the way, notice this conversation versus the last conversation. At least he's trying to notice how he's trying to come at certain arguments, acknowledging certain things, but counterpunching with other things. He's still losing. But notice how the conversation is moving a lot forward. This is how I would deal with him first. Number one, I would say, hey, is there anything negative? Is there anything negative about patriarchy? He's going to give you this. It harms women. Cool. Is there anything negative about feminism? So you basically set them up to where, okay, you've established, the good and bad of patriarchy. I would then ask, is there anything good about patriarchy? Now, because he already used the word matriarchy, which means he knows the difference, which means you already know the difference. And then he hasn't used it again. He just said feminism. So what, in your mind, what's the difference between feminism and matriarchy? Do you see feminism as the avenue to get to matriarchy? Do you believe a matriarchy is better than a patriarchy? And why? And what are some negatives when it comes to feminism? They never can say negatives when it comes to feminism. They got all the negatives for red pill and men advocating for men, but there's no negatives for feminism. They never can say that because in their mind, everything needs to be equitable, meaning it needs to be equal. That's not how it works because truth be told, we don't have equal roles in a society. Men are far more burdened. The only thing women really need to do in this society is have children. That's it. That's really all they need to do. Have children. And when they don't, we have to import immigrants that are having children. That's it. That's it. Men have to do building, maintaining, defending the society. We are burdened with generating the economic engine. Spending money is far easier than actually generating the shit that you need to spend it on. Those are four key things. And if you do not protect the quote unquote society, then eventually another country is gonna be able to take you out. Maybe not directly, but indirectly. We're seeing that economically. And these women don't have no answer. These women ain't got no answers for China. These women are going to default to the men. Oh, you run. So these women aren't inventing anything. There's nothing these women are doing when it comes to geopolitics or anything like that. Now, some women are good diplomats to a certain extent, but when it comes to like actual geopolitical power, when it comes to power generation, the only thing they can do is negotiate with men. And the only reason why feminism has gotten as far as it's gotten is because it benefits the elites. Do you really believe that if it didn't benefit the 1%, by way of subduing men, they control all this shit that he's saying, that as a group, do you actually believe that feminism would have gotten as far as it's gotten? The people that control the advertising, the cultural stuff, what you see, the images you see, the way these societies run, the political power he's talking about, if you actually believe that it doesn't benefit them to box men in regardless of race, that this would have got as far as it's gotten. Come the fuck on, man. Like, and it's like, do you not like, you make it sound like women are just like, you act like these are white women, yo. Y'all really act like white women were slaves. Like, look, are you fucking serious? Shout out to B Rain with the $50. Much appreciated.
Being represented. I don't know why there has been this idea that women should want to.
Honestly, to be fair to him, this has probably been the most productive conversation. This has probably been the most, and keep in mind, this is coming off after Priscilla, so this has probably been the most productive conversation out of all of them. I'll give him this. I mean, he's the type of dude that you got to keep him away from us. Because if he listened to us too long, if he listened to somebody like Rolo too long, his opinion would change. Because here's the problem: we're not against women, but the reality is the society cannot work the way that it's working. It can't, because women are not actually doing what they're supposed to do to hold it up.
Aspire to work 80 hours a week in order to be on par with men.
Do you think that interests are innate, or do you think
I think the interests are innate?
So why is it then that, for example, in the 1980s, only a quarter of college graduates were women, where now majority of college graduates are women? That shows that because of the way that social pressures have actually changed, women's interests are actually now changing too. A majority, I think, or at least half of law.
Because number one, let me tell you why. I'm gonna tell you exactly why. Because number one, college used to be harder, and women are gonna get angry about this, but this is fact. College used to be harder. It was much harder to get into college, and two, because what did we just do with the statistics on women hold 65% of the debt of student loans? So it was a scam. Because you're not going to convince a whole bunch of men to go to college to get skills they can't really use. I remember when I was going to go to school, they were looking at what the hottest jobs were. Women are going to school just to be in school. Most of them. They're going like that chick said, I'm going to art, just to art. They believe that that's a class differential. Dudes are going to make money.
law school graduates are now women. It used to be the case for example, a few hundred years ago that a lot of
You can pay them less.
primary philosophers like Immanuel Kant, Hegel, didn't even believe women could be reasonable. Now here you are today doing a debate with me where we're using logic and
Yeah, but that's not the same. That's not the fucking same thing, man. Like, that's not the same thing. It's kind of like me, you deal with the YNs and what these people are doing, crashing out, black culture. And then I try to use what Dr. Cress Welsing said as like, or her debates against white men as far as our brains weren't as large. That's bullshit. That's a bullshit argument, man.
reason to get to these flows, and nobody here would dismiss the claim that you can't be rational or logical or be, for example.
But that's bullshit, man. And again, that's white ideology. That's white people saying that shit.
A great lawyer because you're a woman.
Right. So I totally agree with you that women, but I think they have actually entered into the workforce. I mean, entered into college under this external pressure of feeling that if you don't go to college, you're going to be a failure.
So you admit
and
that pressures are a part of the way interests work.
Yes, but we're disagreeing on where the pressure is coming from. Like, I think that now the pressure is that if a woman doesn't enter the force, there's no longer this idea that, okay, we're going to come together as a family, whereas there was this reality that there was this understanding that you would have a partner. People were getting married when they were 18, 19 years old. Right. Our grandparents, now it's because of feminism. And I'm saying this is the downside of feminism. Women no longer have that sense. They think that
the problem, they're pulling this flag up because he's being way too agreeable with her. Notice how, so that had 5 minutes on it. Notice how they let that chick get damn near all the way to the bottom because she was cussing him out. Notice that. I want you to notice that, man. And like I said, I saw Priscilla's part. I'm going to get to that. I may do an upload just on that. But Priscilla was a straight up grifter, and it's obvious that she's a disgrace to black womanhood. And it's kind of funny because it's her as a black woman, and it's you. This is a black woman that has a white man, by the way, which all these divestors act like they want to see. This is a chick cosplaying as a man. She doesn't know what she wants to be. Which is crazy to me, how she sits there and dresses like a thug. Like, I gotta tell you, man, the dude, I'm sorry, and I would say this to your fucking face. If you fucked her and you nutting in Priscilla, like, nigga, you gotta be from Atlanta, man. Nigga, there is no way, nigga, you gotta be from Atlanta. I'm gonna leave it like that, man, for real.
You have to be pressured to go take out a loan to go to college, and then you have the pressure to get.
Well, they have the same pressures as men because women no longer rely on for an income.
Pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please.
I did like our conversation. Might have to come back to you.
Yeah, I mean, dude, like, at the end of the day, I can tell, like, yeah, like, you got to watch him when he's around women, but ultimately, I mean, they was like, it's too much cooperation going on. Get him the fuck off.
Hi.
Yeah, I want to see that bitch again. Like the chick that looked like JoJo. I mean, you're a misogynist. Fuck you. I'm from Chicago.
Owens, I'm Paris.
Very nice to meet you.
I identify as a Chicago, and in Chicago, we call women as full of shit bitches.
To meet you. So can I explain to you why I believe we live in a patriarchy and why I believe we live in a society that's preferential to men? So I'm going to use the example.
Preferential. How is the society today? Like, again, it's 2025. It's 2025. And they're still fucking saying that shit.
Of male violence. There's a lot of places I can look, but we're going to talk about that. 81% of women have been sexually assaulted.
That has nothing to do with preferential to men, though. But let's go. Let's see what you got. So you already fucking up.
1 in 6 have been raped. 1 in 4 women are the victims.
Hold on 1 second. Look, I'm sorry. I'm going to use this calculator. So 16% of women in the United States have been, okay, hold on. Let's fact check that. Like, they just, notice how they just fire off these stats, and these stats half of them be lies. What is the population of women in the U.S.? All right. So the population of women is 167, right? So 167. So what she's essentially 167 of females, right? So let's divide that by 2, over 18, under 18. So it's 84 times. So basically she's saying 13 million women have been sexually assaulted. That's what that I want you to that's what that means. Not or ARD, it should say. That's what that means. 13 million out of 84 adults. Now, if you count all that whole number, that 167 number, it's 26 million out of 167 million. That's what that 1 in 6 means. So let's do that. What is I don't know if ChatGPT is going to give me that. So this is trying to say 19% of 23 million. I mean, that's what the states say. But so you saying 1 in 5 in 2025, 1 in 5 women have literally been bent the fuck over and had their pussy taken. That's what you're saying. And we already know what group is probably doing that to that level. And if y'all not really jumping on that, if y'all not jumping on that, I don't know what to say. That's what that's trying to say. So 1 in 6. And my thing is, if it's 1 in 6, do you know somebody that's been raped? That's what I want to ask a chick. Do you know somebody that's been raped? 1 in 6. I want to ask a whole bunch of women. Do you know somebody personally? No, they're not saying anything. Like, for real. Well, then, if you're not going to say anything, how do you expect it to change?
In domestic violence, 98% of perpetrators of rape and sexual assault are men. 95% of perpetrators of domestic violence are men.
First of all, as far as domestic violence, men don't report it. So let's cut the bullshit on that. As far as domestic violence, as far as sexual violence, it R in prison seems to not count. And let's just be real. Women don't typically report other women in same-sex relationships. So let's really, because that's still relatively new. So let's cut the bullshit on that. And then let's also compare paternity fraud, which I consider R, in the reverse. See, it doesn't count the same.
With regards to human trafficking,
which low key, they've argued is either 20%, 20 to 30%. That part.
70% of human trafficking victims are women. So we're seeing a very clear issue of men being violent towards women.
Yeah, but this is of these people that have gone through these things. I mean, dude, if you compare this to other countries, I mean, you live in, it's basically what women are trying to say. They live like again, you know, they're acting like, again, man, you don't. The reason why stuff like this kind of pisses me off is because the elephant in the room is there's a lot of white men doing this. And I hate to throw I don't hate to throw white men. There's a lot of white men doing this. And so when we say these numbers, it's like they're not being honest about where these numbers are coming from. They're not honest. Like, you got a lot of women that have probably been R'd by white men, like black women, that are just not going to say anything. Or if they say it, they just keep it ambiguous. I'm not saying which, by the way, the statistics do bear that out, by the way. A lot of these motherfuckers are white that are doing this shit.
And then when we
but they all play that game.
Look at the way that our government handles that. 1 out of 3 rapes go reported, and then out of the ones that go reported, 7%.
Well, 1 in 3. That's not the government's fault. That's women's fault. So then you got to ask, why are these women not reporting it? And they have their own individual reasons why they don't. So I mean, y'all are really like y'all are doing a lot of fucking women do a lot of, because here's the funny thing. A lot of these, like, obviously this is still relatively new, but this is the same statistic where all, like, what if I compare that to all the statistics of boys, which again, a lot of these boys are white, to be fair to white men. The boy that haven't, when I say boy, I mean 18 to like 25, that haven't had sex, that are still virgins, or they don't have sexual contact. So now all of a sudden, all these men are doing all this fucking all of a sudden. And not this 80-20 rule. See, you notice how that doesn't add up? All these now it's not convenient to mention all these men that are not having this sexual contact. Now it's like all these men are fucking. Everybody's fucking. Make sure y'all support the Cash App.
And in jail time. So if we're looking at that, and we're looking at the fact that
that's bullshit, man. You get assaulted, you get convicted of R, man. You're on a list forever. You're marked forever. That's that's up there with murder. As far as even if you're not in jail, like, what are you talking about? What person do you know? If you even put your hands on a woman, like, what are you talking about?
Government doesn't really get that worried about male violence?
Well, so what I would say is, going back to biological differences, men are naturally inclined more towards aggression than women are. So I am not shocked by you telling me. It's, even if you looked at, like I said, male on male crime, you would see that there are more instances of men killing other men than there are instances of women killing other women. And that, I think, actually speaks to our biological differences, which is actually at the root of everything that I believe about feminism.
Well, and another thing is, hormonally, like, even then, that's starting to increase. With violence, women and violence on other women is starting to increase, actually. And also, like Jordan Peterson said, women engage in different forms of violence, like reputational violence, deception. Like, I see it as an act of violence to lie to a man about saying a child is his and not. Because it has, let me be very clear here. Lying to a man and telling him a kid is his when it's not has a lot more consequences than me slapping the shit out you. I'm sorry. You can play that game all you want to. Like, dude, like, let me ask you, say it this way. What you think is more consequential? A man punching another man in his face and breaking his nose, or a woman basically lying to a man and saying his kids, like, which one would you rather go through? Be punched in your face and your nose broken. It'll be fine in the end. Or you finding out 20 years later that your kids are not yours and you're 50 now, when you had these kids at like between 30 and 36. Which one would you rather have?
Being a lie is because they're trying to program people to believe that men and women are the same. Now, I don't think that pointing to the fact that men are more aggressive than women, which is a point that you and I 1000% agree on, whether or not that manifests in the very wrong way, men harming other men, which I think they do more probably than they are beating women, men on male violence. That manifestation doesn't change the fact that men and women are just biologically hardwired different. I think it's actually proof of that. I don't think it has anything to do with the fact of power dynamics.
Well, because when they make these conversations, aggression is not what they think about. What they really think about is men are just bad and women are good. That's how she's approaching it. The statistics show men are bad and women are good. It also should show that men are oppressing women through violence. The problem is we're always going to be bigger and stronger than you. We're always going to be. You can look at the black community nearest you to see what it looks like when women are bigger than men. And is that what you want to be? Is that the woman you want to be? Being with a dude that can't produce, can't do nothing, but you beating up on him because you're like a hormonal monster. Is that what you want to be? Because you can easily go deal with that if that's what you want to get down
in this country. Because to the contrary, if you look at prison rates and talking about how disparities don't mean anything, the majority of overwhelming people that are in prison are male, right? There's a reason for that. So
notice how whenever somebody is not arguing Candace down and just yelling at her and like she's able to talk, that flag goes up. Have you noticed that? Like, this chick is not necessarily on her side with all of that. She's saying all of the things, yet that flag is going up as soon as Candace starts talking. Because it's not about what she's saying. It's about how you feel about what she's saying.
it manifests in a good way, that male aggression, is the reason why we have men defending us, men that are willing to go to war and die for our
She's laughing. Like, are you fucking serious?
nation.
Bitch, you're not being drafted.
And so aggression being an aspect of masculinity has nothing to do with the conversation of whether or not feminism is harming women today.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you that
we agree.
women are biologically different.
Yes,
men are.
But the problem is these women think they need feminism to protect them against men. Do you not understand that feminism has nothing to do? If men just wanted to say, fuck this shit, the only thing you all could do is not have children. And there's an answer for that too. Basically bringing other women in here and manipulating the tax code to where basically putting y'all in a real hostile environment for playing that game. That's why when BGS talks about, I call it the turn my coochie off nuclear option. I'm like, let them turn their coochie off. Let them turn their coochie off and deal with other women, and they can deal with the community comes with that and be replaced. That can happen.
I want you to.
It's just, the elites don't want that to happen because the elites like it how it is. Like, they don't understand the reason feminism is the way it is because the elite men want it to be that way. These are men that wanted to be that way. Women are up under them.
Connected to is, I guess, power. Because what I'm talking about when I say that we're existing under a matriarchy is that I believe that the social
she said the word
pressures politically and socially that are coming, and even within our music, if we talk about Hollywood, it's very much
that power
has become
means nothing. Like, just because who was on the top music charts or whatever are women. Okay, how many women have paid maternity leave?
Okay, that's not
like how
that has nothing to do with that. Who the fuck has paid maternity leave anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world? What are you talking about? Like, that has nothing to do with shit.
How are things panning out in
like they're talking about
family courts? Why are abusive men having access to their children? Like, why are women making
what abusive man has access to his child? What the fuck are you talking about? Like, these people live in a different reality. What man? Like, yo.
making less than men? Like, what? I mean, none of that means anything.
They make less than men because we produce more than you do. We work harder than you do. We negotiate better than you do. What are you talking about?
So that gap, obviously, I'm sure you've recognized the gender gap has been debunked so many times. It's almost foolish to debunk it again.
Well, you could say, yeah, that most women will go into jobs where they're making less,
Yes.
but then it does answer the question of why do we not value women's labor?
That's not valuing women's labor. It's just a reality that if you are going to be a person that aspires to become a brain surgeon, you are going to make more money than a person that aspires to do something that's,
to be a pediatrician, to be a veterinarian. And that's true if you're a man.
like in the household.
Can we go back to the male violence question?
Yes.
Why does our country not?
See, now she's getting frustrated and she's just throwing stupid shit out there. Like, they just throw this shit out there. Like, this is just shit y'all been told. Like, y'all have never, she knows some stuff, but you this is shit. Like, what man, like, what's the last news story have you seen of a man being, like, documentedly have access to his children? And by the way, it is fucking his children. I'm sorry, bitch. How he treats you does not necessarily mean he's gonna beat up on them children. They're his children just like y'all's. Because if we flip that shit and figure out that y'all been abusive, I'm telling you right now, women that lie about paternity, they should automatically have their kids. And this is somebody who spent a year in foster care. They should automatically have their kids taken away. Because that's abuse. Verbally, again, their type of abuse is not quantified. That's the problem. Because it's this one-way street. And really, this is a bullshit because white women have benefited from, when you look at labor they have done for this country to how they benefited, it's not even a question that they're up on that ratio. Yet they do the most bitching. Like, these are motherfuckers that are like white bitch mouthpieces, man. Because your problem is, why are we doing this? Why are we doing? Well, for you, it's race. But, Candace ain't
Not
gonna have that
persecute
problem.
men then who are rapists.
Well, the majority of people who are in prison are men, so I don't know what you mean that we don't.
There are more black men in jail. At one point, there was more black men in jail than women in the United States than women in jail in the world. women don't even go to jail for the shit they actually do.
Prosecute men that are rapists.
In fact, Ruth Bader Ginsburg said that the law is not even designed to really control women, because really shame and stuff was supposed to do that. The law is designed to control men.
Even prosecute people.
7% go to jail. Only 7% go to jail.
I don't know what that has to do with the question of whether or not we're living in a matriarchy or a patriarchy.
So what she's saying is not enough men are going to jail. Here's the part they don't want to talk about. Those disparities are Caucasian men. But nobody wants to have that conversation. I hate to use the term men of color, but men of color are not, like, this does lump into Hispanics as well. We're going to fucking jail. Now, usually Hispanics keep shit more internal, but we're going to fucking jail if we do this shit. It's white men, but see, y'all don't want to have that conversation, which is why I don't fucking want to hear what y'all got to say about it, because that's the gap. Do not ever tell me this is a black woman. Black men go to jail. And if black women are not calling the cops on the nigga, that's your fault. That's your fault. Because them cops, that's a call they will always pick up. It's time to come pick this nigga up. Oh yeah. They're never late for that call. So stop playing games.
If there's an
preferential
issue,
to men.
You're saying that they only like to arrest men when they kill someone, but our government is awarding men for raping women. I don't understand what
they're not. They don't care. Rape is effectively legal. You can literally rape a woman, and you have a very low likelihood of actually going to jail as a man.
Rape is effectively legal.
I'm glad that we got here. Thank you for telling your truth. Do you understand how crazy that fucking shit is that she just said? That's the clip of the show. That's the clip of the show right there. We found it. We found our clip farm, as the Z's say. That is the clip of the show. And of course it's a bald head scallywag. Ain't got no hair in the back. There to his head up. Your hair is messy. I hate to disrespect her like that, but of course it's the black woman. They actually believe that. Now maybe rape is effectively legal if a white man is taking it from a black woman. Maybe, and I'm not even willing to go that far. Maybe that's true. But maybe. But again, for you to sit here and say that men get the fuck out. Let's see what she says.
Effectively legal. How many men are actually going to jail for rape?
I actually agree with you that in terms of sex crimes, and I don't know how you're peeling out women, because I would even, and again, this has nothing to do with our argument today, but I would even say that people are not being prosecuted hard enough when we're dealing with crimes against children, period. Talking about 100%. Sexual crimes not being prosecuted 100%. In this country is a whole other conversation, and you will not get a disagreement with me, but I think that it's wrong to say that it's somehow attached to being a woman when you know that there are so many children that are going through the exact same thing. I mean, the light sentences that are tossed out for pedophiles, it's completely ridiculous.
All right, guys, pause.
Because they're white men doing it. And feminism doesn't address that because most of the fucking rich people are white. So, yeah, your feminism is literally a button controller. You're talking to the wrong people. And I'm not even trying, but that's statistically proven. When you look at pedophilia, when you look at those crimes, those are white men. That is a conversation white women have to have. That's that men and bear shit. That's why white women took to that, because they have their issues with their men. But the problem is their power is tied to their men. So if they undercut their men's power, they're undercutting their own power. See, a lot of that crap would have been solved if you solved the racism problem. But because you all like the goodies you get from it, you got to take the good with the bad, the bad with the good. And that's what white women don't like to talk about. Because you're not about to tell me that black men can just take pussy and not go to jail. Shit, get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. So who the fuck you talking about?
I don't think it has anything to do with the conversation that we're having right now. But I agree with
Has everything to do with it, and you're separating it to make your
time.
It's not. It's not. It's not. And again, all these chicks want to talk about sexual assault. Like, what I really want to know is that, were you sexually assaulted? Because a lot of these chicks have not been. Some of y'all been listening too many, reading too many of these pussy taking novels and shit. Like, real fucking talk. Like honestly, man, you know, it's only one group that they can go to jail being accused. Like, motherfucker, Jonathan Majors was running away from the bitch and fucking lost his career. What the fuck are you talking about? So you ain't talking about black men. Well, black men hit black women. Let me be very clear here. If you are with a nigga, if you are over the age of 18 and you with a nigga with, I'm sorry, I don't mean a stereotype, but I'm just whatever. Y'all got to bear with me. If you with a nigga with dreads, a nigga with a tear tattoo or any of that shit, bitch, you know why you, the sales is a D-boy, bitch, you know why you're there. You know why you're there. And just like how I tell these niggas, if you're with certain types of women, if you get with certain types of women, you deserve what that bitch does to you, because that's clearly what you're there for. When a nigga tells me crazy pussy is good pussy, I understand where that comes from. But guess what? You know why you're there. And if you like alcohol, if you like sugar, you got to take the headache that comes with it, or the diabetes that comes with it, or the blood pressure that comes with it. Look, shout out to Alan Roger Curry, but Alan Roger Curry loved that Snapple. You saw what happened to him. I mean, it is what it is. I love my mother. My mother loves smoking. She lost a third of her lung 6 months before dying. And that's not necessarily the one reason, but she did third of her lung, and she did smoke. Like, you got to take you. It's not society's fault when you're playing games. You want to sell dope, don't get mad when you get robbed. It's what it's what it is. I'm not saying I'm immune to it. You know, I'm not saying we all have our fucking vices. But you don't see me bitching about shit that really it's my vices. I don't sit here and say, well, women need to pick me and blah 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 blah. You don't see her saying that. I'm not alluding to that. I mean, it goes both ways. You deal with a stripper. Look, Travis, I'm gonna start calling it the Travis Hunter rule. Shout out to Andre GMA. You know, it's what it is, man.
I'm going to add 5 more minutes to this claim.
Oh, God.
Hi, Adam. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. So your claim is, just to be clear, that we live in a matriarchy, right?
Yes.
So I think even you'd agree that on a global level, that's obviously ridiculous when there are.
Yeah, but see, we didn't say global. We're talking about in America. What the fuck are you talking about global? Hey, we don't have global citizenship. It's not the new world order yet, my friend. Yeah, you think you're slick. Let's see how she reacts.
Countries where people literally are honor killed for like Instagram posts. But even if we're talking about just the US, right? We don't have paid maternity.
She's got that look. She's like, you tried it, nigga. But I got something for that ass.
Maternity leave.
Got something for that ass, Adam.
Abortion is illegal in over a dozen different states. And as someone earlier was mentioning, women are overwhelmingly the victims of sexual violence and domestic abuse.
They kill me. I'm gonna tell you something. The reason why they talk about, like, they don't have a lot to talk about. So at the end of the day, now we're gonna scream rape all day, every day. We're gonna speak rape all day, every day. I would ask a lot of dudes, do you know a chick that's been sexually assaulted? Like, it's amazing how this is just, you got all these women that the only time rape is coming up is when arguments are being made. Oh, they're not doing it. It's way too many women in these offices now for this not to be talked about more. If this is as much of a problem as y'all are talking about, it is. Like, for real. Again, less men. It is never, like, straight up in United States, less men are fucking. Yet somehow y'all acting like rape is just so ever present. There's never been less men fucking and I'm talking about white men too. As far as in the United States, and we know black men, you niggas believe in game, and you niggas don't even believe in paying a bitch for it, let alone taking it. That's against nigga rules. That's against nigga rules. It don't count. Not to mention, you know what's gonna happen. And God forbid you dealing with non-black women and they just can lie on you with that and you going to jail. So it's like when they say that, they always try to make all men the same thing. And it's not Hispanics saying this shit, by the way. This is shit. Notice how you don't hear Hispanics saying this. This is shit white women are saying. White and black women are saying. And white and keep in mind, black women only really say that shit when they're around white women. Because that's not even an argument. Black women are more likely to talk about black men killing them than they are talking about black men taking it. So somehow we're in a country now where women are talking about where the men at, but y'all just be having it taken all the time. Like that white woman said on SWP stuff. Dude, black men ain't even in these schools like that.
So that doesn't seem like a very well-designed matriarchy where women are victims or, lacking power in so many different realms of society on like a structural level.
I just do not think that women are lacking power on a structural level because they can't, which they can, by the way, abort their children. Is that like one of your components? Is that
there's many states where abortion is illegal? Do you dispute that?
I am going to dispute that having a child is somehow something that restricts women in any capacity. Like you're saying that.
What about the ability to decide what you do with your own?
First of all, that law was just passed. Second of all, these women can go to other states. Third of all, these women in all these states, they can get the morning after pill. Like, get the fuck out of here. And let's keep it all the way a buck. Your ability to abort a child is a technological advance. So this idea that you just have a basic human right to abort a child is bullshit. You don't have a right to do anything that it requires technology to do. You don't. You don't. Let's just be real about that. It's crazy, man.
Own body.
I don't believe that I don't believe that murder is something that you should be allowed to
Sure,
decide.
and murder.
Oh, you can't say that. Oh, you can't say that. Oh God. No, it's not murder. It's not murder. That's why you have abortion grief, right? Because that's your body telling you fucked up.
Murder is the legal.
It's actually what you're doing to somebody else's body.
Sure,
so
murder.
I'm pro-life.
Sure.
The argument that, well, women will only be free if they're able to, kill off their own offspring, to me is
that's a really
extremely off-colored.
Well, I guess if you frame it that way, everyone kind of has to agree with you. But when we're talking about abortion, when 99% take place in the first few weeks, when there's no thalamus, there's no cortex, there's no capacity for consciousness in the fetus that's developing.
At the end of the day, man, at the end of the fucking day, we have a population fucking problem, and nobody. I mean, you want to talk about what the Chinese were fucking doing when it comes to abortion, like. They'll throw your ass over there when they told you your ass is only having one kid, and you want to sit there and you think because you live in a fucking farm or the rural areas that they won't go come and drag your ass, find your ass when you 9 months pregnant, and they be like, yeah, come here, yeah, we're doing an audit. And they rip that kid right out of you and throw it in a fucking, you'll find out real quick. Y'all better act like you know.
Saying that fetus that has no capacity to be conscious, aware, anything else, should have the same rights, same bodily autonomy as a woman, that is an obvious. I mean, you're making my point for me.
You're drawing a lot of conclusions to what she said. First of all, even the most conservative of laws still allow for you to have an abortion within 6 weeks. Second of all, these are the same bitches that don't even believe men should know if their children are there. These are the same bitches that are out here talking like that chick talking about if you abuse, you shouldn't have rights to your kids. I'm like, who the fuck? Like, where's these news stories that y'all are talking about? Like, where is this shit going on that a man is what y'all just add shit because you can't do what the fuck you want. That's why they always go to that. There's a reason why they always go to abuse, because it gives them the outcome that they want. Like, that's what they was trying to do to DDG. Like, this shit is bad. And I am glad. Look, man, I support look, we know Candace Owens ain't for what we talking about, but I am very proud of Candace Owens talking about the matriarchy. That needs to be talked about more. And it shows you, everybody thought I was crazy talking about the gynocracy and putting that on my back. I'm not obviously taking credit. But the reality is we need to start saying that more and force them in these conversations. I don't give a fuck about what they're talking about with this other bullshit, because a lot of that is unsubstantiated, or they're overselling how much that is. Like at the end of the fuck, like seriously, like talking about like they're like they don't have any concrete examples of the court. Like the best way it's not a patriarchy versus a patriarchy is, do men control the children? Yes or no? Ultimately, do men control the children? No. Every patriarchy, that is the essential component. The women control the children. It's called the tender years doctrine. Shout out to BGS. So that's how you know. That's the critical part. That's the critical piece. All that other shit is bullshit.
Actually making a point that people who are, are born with tremendous disabilities should just be killed because of cognitive functions and ability.
I don't remember saying that. When did I say that?
The best argument, which again, this is sidetracked.
You just said cognitive. You just said it.
I'm saying that
let's get back on track.
Kill people with disabilities.
Well, I'm saying that if you're saying no, I am saying that if you're saying that,
what she's doing is she's drawing a comparison and feeding it back to you. You're playing word. I mean, yeah, you say she's playing word games too, but you're playing word games. At the end of the fucking day, man, you're starting to hear some of these women talk about post-birth abortions. Let me tell you where a lot of this shit with abortion, these women want the right to get rid of these kids at any point. They want the right to be able to artificially unburden themselves from these children. And let me be very clear, they won't say that because they very much understand that if they say if they say that they want to kill these children after they're born, they know that's a no pass go. They know that. So, but when you hear people use terms like post-birth abortion, that is what that means. That's what that means. They can try to play fast and loose what they didn't know, but that's what they mean. So make no mistake, like they do want to get there eventually. I don't know what it is about them not believing they should just give the kid away. Why they think, but they do believe that. Like a lot of these chicks do. Just like how 10 years ago when gay marriage was passed, you didn't hear nothing about T and all this extra shit you heard. They said that's where it was going to stop. We know that's a lie. So we got 10 years to kind of know where this goes. So we know they're lying when they don't say. Just like, again, that blank slate theory. You ain't never heard no fucking feminist say that. You know why? Because that sounds a lot like grooming boys and children. Remember what we used to talk about when you talking about the people used to talk about the fucking gay agenda? That sounds a lot like blank slate theory, because you have to understand they can't reproduce themselves unless they reproduce themselves ideologically. And that's how they do it.
It's cognitive ability, and at what stage
the ability
you
to
think
be conscious, and just so we're clear, disabled people are conscious. They're aware.
Okay. So the best argument that it is a life is the fact that you have to kill it. You have to have a procedure to kill it, right? So you have to intervene on the development. Like
living
you said, you
human
called
cells
it,
in it, but
you
it's
called
not
it
conscious.
a developing life.
Sure.
If you have to go into your body and murder it, then
I'm not
it's
disputing that
murder.
there's living human cells in a fetus.
Again, so we can
question.
just tack that off because we just have a fundamental disagreement on
Sure,
whether or
then
not
we
a
can
child
talk
is
about
life.
paid maternity leave. People have been talking a lot about whether you have to be a mother, you have to work.
Again. Women, the problem is we are not fucking number one, paid maternity leave exists. Men use it to upskill. Shout out to people to feed me information. Women use it to upskill. I mean, men use it to upskill. And a lot of women are getting mad because men are using it, they're using the time in the way that they're using it because they can balance these things, and women are just using it to have a mental reset. Again, the problem is you all have to have kids, and you're biologically different. You have to carry the child, and you can't have paid maternity leave and then think the men are not going to have it. And another thing that I've been fed that I agree with this too is that a lot of the women, when they're in the state where they have kids, they want to be taken. It's not that they want the kid taken care of. They want to be taken care of while they take care of the child. And women are not being honest about that. So at the end of the day, this dude is trying to be argumentative, and it's like, yo, at the end of the day, you're not gonna argue her down that way. It's not gonna work that way because again, people are giving less of a fuck about this shit y'all are talking about. Because in the real practical world, we're seeing this shit does not work. And you saying it over and over and over. See, the reality is women are starting to have outcomes of diminishing returns. That's where y'all fucked up. Now all these women, these girl bosses don't have husbands, or their husbands make less and they're mad. AI is coming for a lot of people's jobs. So it's less people. You see how people are mate selecting. A lot of these women are out here fucking married men, or out here having side babies. I mean, this is the world feminism created, and people want to sit here and talk about, well, it's just as much patriarchy as it was because women need paid maternity. No, the fuck they don't. No, the fuck they don't. Like a corporate, we live in a capitalistic society, and by the way, we live in a globalized society. You dumb bitches voted for that too. We live in a globalized society, so where other people of other cultures, I've seen it. I've seen Research Triangle Park in where I'm at. It's Indian women. You all are being this bullshit. These Indian women are not asking for this shit, yo, because they have cultures to know how to deal with that. You all are getting out competed against with this bullshit. I mean, you can show other women that are doing it the way it needs to be done. And I'm talking at a high level. It just doesn't look black or look white, so it doesn't count, right?
A lot of women
like I said, JD Vance gets in there with his wife. A lot of y'all gonna look stupid.
have to pick one or the other, because in many cases, if you want to have a child, first of all, there's a big gap in your resume, so getting a job after that might be super difficult. And then secondly, even in the process of having that child, being pregnant, especially in the third trimester, and then raising the child, where the vast majority of the burden typically is on the mother,
the burden is on the mother. The man is generating the money for her to do this. If you're talking about single motherhood, then men need more rights to have access to the kid. See, that's what comes with that. The tender years doctrine is what gives a lot. See, man, a lot of the stuff that justifies giving women. See, here's the truth. BGS says women, the government cares about babies and nothing else. The tender years doctrine basically gives the government a flat excuse to prioritize the women for the outcome of producing children. If you balance the tender years doctrine out, then what you do is you give men give men a lot of those rights back with the state, and it takes away the justification for the government to just do what they want to do. Because this is why they always say everything is for the benefit of the child. Well, we know good and goddamn well this doesn't benefit the fucking child. I mean, for real though.
Place, and our system of our economy is not tailored to make that easy for them.
I actually totally agree with you, and this gets into
maternity leave. You agree?
I don't know. Actually, I'm agreeing with you that this pressure that you're describing exists for women, and I'm saying that it exists for women because of the feminist.
Because here's a problem. Women at first were not in the workforce, and they wanted to be in the workforce to be empowered. Now they want to basically terraform the workforce to benefit them. But they're not thinking about the what makes America different and make America great is our productivity. So you're basically limiting our productivity in order to benefit your ass, not understanding that we were and now are in a globalized economy where you're going to feel that, and that's going to decrease our productivity, which is why men got paid more. Also, we do more essential fucking jobs that have to be done. For example, when I fell in that ditch, when somebody wanted to be a bitch ass nigga and basically clown me for that, not knowing what the fuck he's talking about, because again, you wouldn't know if I didn't tell you, which should be a clue that I don't give a fuck about it. It happens. Shit happens. I had to fucking call a goddamn tow truck guy, and he came within 30 minutes, white guy, and he pressed the fucking hook my car with the hook that I didn't even know was on my car, and pressed the button, and it just pulled it out. And yes, I tried to pull that bitch out myself. I tried to put cardboard under it and move the tire. That bitch wasn't coming. I'm just glad I didn't fuck up my oil pan. And pulled it out. 200, and he didn't come out until invoiced that motherfucker $200. Sent me that email with that invoice. As soon as he was there 28 minutes when he said he'd be 30. So he was there 2 minutes early. That's an essential, like that. I mean, that's not obviously building and maintaining, but the point is that's what I need done. You know, tow truck drivers, it's like krill. It's like krill in the ocean. It's a good ecosystem kind of thing. You know, just like building and maintaining stuff. Y'all pushing paper it's really not essential, which is why AI can come in this bitch and just clean that shit up. Shout out to J Lock with the $5. Appreciate your consistent donation. Ed Facts, it was recently a BW stab up 4 of her kids. She did was a lot of these, like they just suppressed that. They suppressed that. They don't sit here and promote that, because why would you? It goes against your narrative. But women, actually statistics show women are the main abusers of kids. Now they don't want to talk, and they see that based on their same logic. They say, well, we're in contact with kids more. Well, that's the reason why men are the main thing with domestic. The same thing, but y'all don't count that for that. So let's stop playing games. And that's a one-way violence. That's a one-way violence. That's not a two-way violence. You saw how Haley Bailey was talking about abortion when it comes to a relationship. Fuck out of here.
That came before who argued for women to enter the workplace. So what you're saying is the solution didn't work and it actually produced more problems. And now we have more problems and we need more governance to be able to tackle these problems. So you're
any
like,
system that's forcing women to make certain decisions, I just wouldn't call that feminism to begin with. Women should have the option to choose, do I want to be a stay-at-home mom? Do I want to work? Do I have some mix of both?
Right.
That's the entire point here.
But the point is we live in a capitalistic fucking society. So all of this is all done with the conjunction of capitalism. Now, obviously there's a little bit of socialism in there, but again, this stuff is not supposed to work this way. It's not. And the only reason this works this way is because let's be very fucking clear. If the college, I'm going to say this before, I'm going to say it again. If the college of fucking corporations, if these CEOs and all in the 1% and the investor class, the 1% class, if this did not benefit them as far as them generating more wealth by having it this way, you bitches wouldn't have this. Let's be very fucking clear. Also, feminism is a soft power it's a soft power move to fuck with other countries too. That's another thing too on the low. That's why America likes exporting this shit, because it undermines other countries, which other countries are starting to figure that out. And one thing that also where China fucks America up is China reaffirms kind of that more authoritarian kind of mindset. So countries that tend to deal with China, that's also something they ain't got to deal with. They ain't got to deal with the gay shit. They ain't got to deal with that other bullshit, because China really don't care as long as it gets what it gets, how these countries do what they do. China is less inclined to give a fuck about human rights than the United States, because the United States uses its fake moral authority, in order to justify what America does with other countries. That's why we give you that freedom. You need some of that freedom, So, yeah, exactly, D. Scott. It is. And so towing is like an ecosystem thing. It's because our shit would look hella shitty. There's money in towing. Trust me, like shit. I picked the wrong career field. Towing, there's paper in towing. Like, because you got to think about it, man. You're not just towing my car. You're towing like Amazon vans, Ryder vans, U-Haul. You're towing a lot of stuff, like, a lot of C to B2B business. Feminism is class warfare. That's what feminism is. Feminism is a way to transfer energy from men to the richer classes by way of women, because you can control women vis-a-vis these social pressures that Candace is talking about. This is not to say that Candace really, if Candace had a button to change this shit, I don't know if she would. Let's just be very clear about that. But feminism is a class warfare tactic. I have not seen anybody actually talk about that, because rather than negotiating with a man, you're negotiating with nameless, faceless. You're concentrating power in small groups of men that you can't feel, you can't touch, and politically they can just buy off. And they can just elevate other women that will sell you the bullshit. So they're only going to go so far because they benefit. That's what feminism actually is designed for. It's really not designed to empower women. It's designed, remember, the DNA of the United States is race, gender, and class. Feminism occupies the racial separation, the class, race, race, gender, and class. And class, there's a racial hierarchy here, and there is a gender hierarchy here, and it's not the way you think it is. They think it's men and women. That's bullshit. White women have more power than any man here outside. White women have more power than any man outside of maybe the top 20% of white men. And the only reason why they don't have power over, you could argue they don't have power over other men, is because other races, because they don't have more power over other white men, is because other white men can physically harm them and not be subject to the same overwhelming legal consequences that other races of men would be. That's it. So they get that white privilege when it comes to the two-tiered legal system that, by the way, women benefit from too. It takes a lot for women to go to jail. And that includes black women too. And see, that's the thing they don't never really talk about. Oh, well, women are not violent. That doesn't mean shit. Women do a lot of shit that justifies them going to jail. Women do a lot of conspiracy shit that justifies them going to jail.
You are also making an argument that if you are a woman who does run a business and does have employees, that they should be forced to pay them maternity leave.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so let me
That's like saying taxes are forced. Yeah, there's certain things the government does to regulate our economy to ensure equality and justice and better outcomes.
Okay.
Yeah, but you being able to, that's not equality, that's not justice, that's a fucking luxury. Yo.
But just so you know, when you do that, like to a small business
every
owner,
other developed country does.
What you are arguing for is supporting big corporations and taking out the little guys, because
I'm arguing for supporting people that want to be mothers and also work at the same time.
Right,
the mechanism we do that with, it can be
but
subsidies, taxes.
You guys can't just keep this. You can't say that we can't have the economic. We can't get down to the economics of what it actually implies, right?
I have an economics degree, and I can tell you if there's a small business that can't afford to pay maternity leave, the government might probably subsidize them and help cover the costs.
Where is the government getting money from? This is
tax revenue. I mean,
right, exactly. So from us, just to be clear, from us, and this is the thing that gets me about all of these debates.
Yeah.
The magic solution that everybody has is that, well, we just need to tax the government more.
Every other developed country has paid maternity leave.
But it's not.
These are smaller countries. The smaller countries have it because they have concentrated systems. That's why they have it. Like, understand that Europe has it because America pays for the defense, which is why they got upset when Trump said you need to pay your fair share, and you even though Trump is starting to get tired of Putin and his bullshit. Which, understand, Putin is fucking up because Trump is like the only other people are going to straight up use what Trump has tried to do with Putin as a way of saying, no, we're not negotiating with this motherfucker at all. Trump shouldn't have did what he did. And you basically told him to kiss your ass. So that's going to be the excuse. So whatever with that. But Europe is heavily subsidized by the United States. They don't have to spend money on their military. I'm not saying we got to spend as much money as we do, but they're heavily subsidized. That's bullshit, man. And you know that. And a lot of these countries are small. Like, for instance, France does that. France does that because France has the Francophone countries. All these, like the UK, look at where the UK is shitty right now. Germany, by the way, these companies, also look at the tax code for all these European countries. They got like 80% tax rates. Like the corporations are not doing that here, man. You better move over there if you want that shit.
Magic, as in like the money is coming. Magical countries. The money is coming from you. It's coming from us. So you're sitting here
that's
saying,
how taxes work.
Yes, we should be raising taxes. Yeah. Okay, and this is the entire problem is that the government is already taxing homes times two, and people are already struggling with what's being taken out of their taxes.
We're not taxing capital gains properly or corporate profits properly.
I'm sure you have something that there's.
And guess what? He's not wrong about that. He is absolutely correct on that, and that's where he actually has a point. Here's the problem. Those are the same motherfuckers that allow feminism to exist in that way. Those people are never going to let that happen because it doesn't benefit them. So trust and believe that if women start going for that shit, you're going to find AI is going to take over a hell of a lot more, and men are going to start having a couple more rights come their way. That's not going that way. That's the problem. And so let's see where he goes.
There's a reason that we should be taxing more here, there.
It's an
The point
efficiency
is that
problem.
the reason
Don't you guys
why
want like government
families
efficiency?
are having
Maybe bring in more revenue to help women be mothers? Like,
what I'm saying is that you are just creating a cyclical argument. You're basically saying that women want to be able to have it all. Women cannot have it all because the government
choice to do what they'd like.
Okay, but you're saying women should have the choice to.
Again, and it's this idea that men have all of these choices. Like what? Like even with white men, what the fuck are you talking about? The average white man does not like. What the fuck are you talking? The average white man, like the median white income is like $55,000 a year. What are these choices? They act like every motherfucker is 6'2". You know, they act like everybody is a fucking Chad. You let them talk. Or Tyrone. Like, god damn. These white boys stay bitching about BBC. You really think they got that shit going on like that? Like, for real, for real. Like, what the fuck are you all talking about? Notice how they're letting him talk because he's giving her that business.
Have it all, okay?
Or he's trying.
So
that's a really interesting way of putting like do you have it all right now where you're working and you're also a mother? Is that having it all?
No, I'm saying that it's not possible for women to have it all. It isn't.
Here's the reality. Here's a reality. Everybody keeps saying, do you have it all? Say what you want to about Candace. Candace went into the marketplace. Let's be clear. She went in there on some racial bullshit because that's because white people want to hear that white guilt alleviation shit. She watching Shapiro. She got an opportunity. She had to fight these opportunities. She had to sell herself on. She had to sell herself for Ben Shapiro until she started talking on the Gaza thing. She's had to transition and find a wave outside of that. Like, most women are not doing that. And she's had to do that actually sounding like she's got some goddamn sense of not selling her body. The reality is, and so when people talk about having it all, she wasn't giving it all. Even getting the white dude, she wasn't giving it all. These are decisions that had to be made. We cannot all work in a digital fucking world. Like, what are you talking about? And women are essentially saying, I want it all. Like, so you're saying that I would say, okay, screw this for a second. Are you saying that there's a reality where 100% of women can have it all? That there's a potential way we can get there? Well, I'm not saying that. Okay, what percentage of women would you quantify, do you think can say have it all? 75%, 50%? What are we talking about here? Like, for real, for real. And what percentage of men do you think have it all? Like, what are you actually talking about? I mean, most people, like, let's keep it real, AB. I mean, Candace gets on my fucking nerves with the racial bullshit. Most of us would have cussed these motherfuckers out. Would have been cussed these motherfuckers out on the third one, especially the dudes. I would have cussed the first dude out. Like, straight up. Like, so, like, most people, men or women, can't sit here for no hour and a half hearing this, because it's bullshit. Even though I got an economics degree, then you understand this stuff has to work. Well, we just need to tax people for property gains. Cool. Guess what? They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. That's why they wanted women working, motherfucker. That's why they wanted them working. So they wouldn't have to do that. They're not doing that. They'll legalize the weed before they do that.
Impossible.
Okay, what do you have?
And that's one of
whatever that is what I would want other women to have as well, which is the flexibility to work.
Yeah, but the problem is that Candace doesn't work for a corporation to get that flexibility. Candace Owens is a basically media entrepreneur that tapped into the digital market. Tap directly into the digital market. That is what she is. Tommy Lauren did a similar thing, even though Tommy Lauren was more on TV. That's bullshit, man. That's like saying I want to make the same kind of money as DDG. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way, man. It doesn't. She built a brand and she's able to apply that brand, and that's why she's on there now. I mean, for better or ill. Destiny the same way. I want what Destiny got. Apparently, Destiny's worth $40 million. Destiny's clearly built the network talking his shit. So, like, what are you talking about? That's that equity bullshit. That's that equity bullshit. That's that. What was somebody saying, by the way? By the way, Ed, those 4 girls. Yeah, they only got suspended. Men, they would have got removed from the school. They would have went to, please, come on, man.
A job and also raise kids if they'd like.
No, but that's exactly. You guys keep arguing that what people want is more flexibility. So you're acknowledging that right now, with feminism on fire, we are agreeing. Women are going into
Feminism
the workforce.
Okay.
Like I'm just kind of using a hyperbolic expression. Feminism is everywhere. We are arguing that women need to have more opportunities. Women need to have more rights.
See, the thing is, a lot of the fourth wave feminists don't know what to talk about, so they jump from thing to thing. Now they're trying to jump to this flexibility bullshit. But the problem is these corporations are not doing this. And quite frankly, men like, oh, we need more mothers. Like this is going to be one of the pushes they try to make to have more children. They're like, why the fuck should we give you more flexibility? They may look into it to try to get more children. But the problem is, man, the corporations are not doing that shit. They really are not doing that shit, man. The corporations are not doing it. They're like, yo, we got this AI coming. Why the fuck would I hire this put up with this shit when I could just, yo, bitch, I'm hiring Siri, yo. Siri 3.5. Get the fuck out of here.
Taken that, now you have the majority of people that are graduating with college degrees are in fact women. Men are committing suicide at a higher rate than women. We're looking around the world.
Feminism also would push for like increased awareness of men's mental health. So like
that's fine. Great. You love feminism. That's great. We already know that. We get it.
Most Americans agree with me, by the way.
Actually,
like women should have paid maternity leave.
Culture
if you go issue by issue and by values, they might not associate with the term feminism because people like you have made it toxic. But
no, they don't. No, they actually don't. It is starting to change. It is starting to change because they have actually suppressed the consequences to this shit. Like, I don't know how you believe that shit and Donald Trump won. I don't know how you believe that. Women put Donald Trump in there. Are you fucking serious?
The next thing is that you will move the goalpost, and then when they begin taxing so that we can account for paid maternity leave for 3 months, which basically means a small business owner has to not have an employee while having to pay months and months and months. Like
yeah, because you can't subsidize that. This isn't fucking farm and corn. You can't subsidize not having an employee, and it doesn't work that way. It doesn't. It doesn't. Other corporations have other countries have it because those societies are fundamentally different. These corporations are not playing. There's a reason why America is America. These corporations are not playing that game with you. And we basically made it so where it's being get the fuck out of here.
Person's not there. They're not actually.
Small business doesn't have the revenue to cover paid maternity leave. The government would probably subsidize them to make up the cost.
No,
it's not about the revenue. It's about the employee. It's not about, and no, they won't do that either. No, they won't. Like, no, they won't. They're not going to do that because you saw what happened with them PPP loans. People are going to lie about, and it's not about lost revenue. You're not going to lose revenue because you don't have an employee. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. What are you talking about, man? It's not about revenue. This is like if you're a fucking waiter and you work at a restaurant, you're not losing revenue. Like, what are you talking about?
I actually think that the way things were made more sense, where we had an environment where you could afford to take care of children with just one person bringing in income in the house.
Is that possible in the current environment?
You can obviously.
They purposely made that impossible. That was the idea. That is what she's talking about with the pressure. But you all keep on, you're making this like, you're actually proving her point when you say that. You have less choice. And the stress that comes along with you having to work like a man makes you less happy. He actually thinks he's right. And he actually thinks he's right.
They're going to get way more expensive with these tariffs as well. Like, it's not going to be easy to afford anything in the coming years.
Is it going to happen overnight? No, but I think we need to be realistic about the fact that the first thing didn't work, right? The entire argument, the first thing was women entering the workforce is going to make everybody happier and richer. That was the
idea is that women having the choice to enter the workforce is better than them being forced to. not do that.
Okay.
That's the argument.
Okay, that actually is not the argument at all. The argument was that women would become, and I'm talking about what the feminists got ahead of, and
You
this
can
is why
debate
women
like
women
this
need to be
imaginary
like
Twitter
men.
feminist, but like
It's
right now you're
not-
talking to me, and
it's
that's not the argument.
I'm not actually debating.
See now he's being an asshole. See now he's being an asshole again. Like, dude, because you could talk to another man and get clapped, like for real. You know, like and again, these people, it's like you go hard. Like it's like there is no. This is somebody that's talking like 20 of y'all motherfuckers. Like, do you not have empathy for like the mental fortitude it takes to deal with 20 of y'all motherfuckers like that? Like seriously, like could you really do it to argue out feminism? Because I promise you, all it takes is one to really knock that out.
An imaginary.
And notice that flag is not coming up fast because it's seen as her being given the business.
Twitter feminist, I'm speaking to you, and I have no
Right.
idea why you're becoming increasingly more rude when I'm just rebutting your
Because
points that you're
you're
bringing
not
up.
responding to my point.
I
That's the
am
issue.
responding to your point. I'm saying that you're creating a cyclical argument where you keep saying that the thing that you just did, that you said was going to be enough. What we
Right.
actually need is for women to just enter the workforce. Oh, women are in the workforce, and actually,
not-
That is true.
Not enough. I'm saying we don't have.
And that is actually the point that I made. Now they're terraforming the workforce as if we control the world. No, we have to compete with other countries. But it's all about you. It's all about you. And quite frankly, the technology, men created the technology for you to even be able to do the bullshit you're talking about in the first place. I'm talking about the child, having child delay and all of that. If that technology wasn't there, you wouldn't be able to do none of that shit. Women didn't create that. Men created that. So we got to take accountability.
Enough
okay,
because we don't
and
have
I'm
paid
telling you
maternity
that you're also not going to have enough because you're going to then be complaining when you get that paid maternity leave.
I'm not
because
gonna get maternity leave.
Okay. Well, they are arguing for family paid leave. So
That's even better. Yeah.
okay.
So I'm not going to get paid leave. So he's already exposed that he believes women should get. So you believe that women should get paid maternity leave, but men as fathers shouldn't get paid maternity leave, which by the way goes back into what Candace was talking about with the matriarchy. So he doesn't even believe that men should get it. But see, this is what I'm talking about. You can't have you can't have that. You can't have that. What law is on the books that benefits men that women can't access? That's bullshit. We've actually lowered standards, as my name is Jeff has said, we've lowered standards for women under the guise of equity. Lowered standards means lower quality. Could you imagine if we lowered the standards to building codes? Could you imagine that? So women could do the fucking job? These things exist for a reason. They do. I'm fucking 5'5". God damn it. Am I going to be as good of a bouncer as somebody that's 6'2" generally? So no, let's lower the standard and just imaginally think the outcome's going to be the fucking same. Let's lower the rim of the basketball hoop. Like get the fuck out of here, man. No, he hasn't. And they do that.
So you might get.
Do you think fathers should also be around to help raise children?
I think who's going to work if everybody goes home every time a child is
Not
born?
everyone's going to have a kid at the same time.
Guys, pause. All right.
Everyone will have a male partner.
Nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you as well. My final claim is that feminism has made things easier for men.
Hi.
Hi,
I'm Jenny.
Candace.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You said that feminism is easier for men.
This is actually funny. This is actually a mindfuck question. This is actually a mindfuck because I'm gonna go through this one, and I may come circle back to this. I did say I'm gonna do Priscilla. This is actually a mindfuck because if women start arguing that things made it harder for men, then you're gonna argue. Then you need to argue why should men give a fuck about feminism in the first place? Because it kind of shows that feminism benefits women at the expense of men and boys. So I'm curious how this is going to go.
It's made things, I think, easier in society for men. Yeah.
Yes, men have generally more sexual access to women than they've had, or at least access to sexual release, even if vis-a-vis porn and stuff like that, because of the quote unquote revolution. So men are not as obligated to get married when it comes to sexual access in that way. Other than that, that's the main thing. But other than that, well, no, I don't agree with that other than that.
Now men don't have to commit, and they're being offered sex from women for free. So they have to actually effectively do less and be motivated less because.
Yeah, outside of that, and see, that's that. Let's get rid of the porn and all that bullshit. Which, by the way, notice how women are absolutely for that, but they always talk about the R word all the time, right?
Feminism.
It never dawns on them that, you know, more pussy will be taken, you know, if you get rid of all the porn. That never dawns on them in their mind. Well, what about black men just gonna fuck uglier women? Because that's what these niggas do. They'll just go uglier and uglier and uglier until they hit rock bottom. But other groups of men don't think that way.
Has kind of insisted on this culture of sex and hooking up, and I think that has been a net negative for women.
On good faith, I just want to say I think you're approaching this with like the best interest for women. Like you think that is negative for women and harmful, and I think in some aspects we can agree to that. Yeah. I do think that there are some aspects of sex work or OnlyFans or whatnot that maybe men are definitely the huge consumers of. But if we are so concerned with women putting that out for free, it's charged, right? They're making money off of it. Then why are we?
Okay, you're talking about OnlyFans. You're not talking about access to porn. What are you talking about? Like even the bitches OnlyFans shit, after a while, motherfuckers just leak that shit. What are you talking about? Like OnlyFans is relatively new to the table when it comes to that. Cam modeling is like, what are you talking about?
Not putting the onus more on men for being the one that is in control of that demand, right? So we can take away the supply or, you know, condemn it all we want. But if there's no onus on men to be the consumers of said products, then wouldn't you think?
So basically, let's allow women to be whores, and then we see this is that let's decriminalize prostitution, but make men, but still penalize men for consuming it. Like how does that's not equitable. That's not equitable, and that's not equality. That's supremacy. That's supremacy. Basically, let's let men. Because again, why are women doing porn? They do porn for money. Is there any other reason they do porn? So if you sit here and you penalize the demand, the demand for it, penalize the demand. See, again, these arguments always come back to supremacist arguments. The arguments that basically say, let's not do anything to women, but let's control the men.
That would solve the issue that you're bringing up?
Yeah, I actually agree with you on that. And I really get to that. I want to be very clear. When I
this is that let's get rid of all see the problem again, man. Again, it's kind of like you all don't do that. What there's nothing in women that y'all are doing that shit on. As if women are consuming romance novels and all of that shit, Instagram, all of that shit, and get the fuck out of here, man.
Say that I'm anti-feminist. This does not mean that I do not also criticize men. I think that's something that people get very wrong.
Okay.
1000% agree. I believe the problem was seeded by the feminist movement. I think the sex revolution and telling women, I mean, literally these people were protesting. They didn't have their shirts on. And this used to be just, your grandparents couldn't even imagine this.
Here's the problem. The problem is that, like, it's kind of like, she essentially said, let's not get rid of the porn. Let's get rid of the man. How do you get rid of the man? So this is why when they were talking about these ID laws, and by the way, North Carolina has, that women were getting excited. Because what women want to do is basically have that shit leak and all the dudes be identified and watch porn. But the truth is, a lot of dudes watch porn, especially younger, whatever, or has seen it. I'm not saying that they're actively doing, but they have seen it at one point. My thing is, so what's the equivalent of what is the equivalent of women being ID'd? Okay, let's identify every bitch that's had an abortion then. So I know, because, you know, if you have abortion, you're less able to have children if you have multiple abortions. So let's ID them. Like, do you not understand that that's a privacy issue? Let's like that, like that's what I'm saying. Like, can you even come up with a thought of anything a woman does that she's not currently ID'd on? Like, this is the type of that's not even American. That now the argument that they make is to make sure that people over 18 are only ones watching it. Like that's their idea, because that's their big thing. And I'm like, yo, to be honest with you, when you're young like that, OnlyFans is I mean, not OnlyFans, Instagram is enough. Y'all act like people need to see porn. Porn is on Twitter. Porn is on Instagram. Porn. I mean, if we're gonna talk about soft shit, I mean, if you talk about a bitch and you're like, come on, when you're like 18, 17, 16, 15, a bitch in a bikini. What are you talking about? Like, seriously. What these hoes are doing on Insta, like again, you have to control the women. There is no way you can just, oh, we're gonna ID the man and we're gonna shame. Notice how shame works when it's shaming men.
It's like women walking down the street and having their boobs out and their butts out on Instagram. And it created an environment where men then had to work harder for a woman's affection, for a woman to take her clothes off, sex education in the classroom. There's this huge myth that people were just doing it, like, oh, we might as well teach them because the children are just doing it. Actually, before they introduced sex education, the majority of high school graduates were graduating with their virginity intact. And then within 10 years of sex education, we saw a reversal. So I'm saying feminism actually seeded the problem. And now
that I don't care about that fact check. That shit is a bullshit ass lie. Talking about, according to the CDC Youth Risk Behavior Survey in 1991, 54% of high schools reported having sexual intercourse. That number decreased to 30. That is bullshit. If you believe, maybe for that 1 year, because again, that was. Let me tell you how absolutely full of fucking shit that shit is. What 2021 was when COVID happened. So you're telling me that in 19, so what you're and they're saying by 2021. So what you probably did is you probably just looked at that 1 year and you want to say it decreased by 30%, for that's because of COVID. That is bullshit. That is bullshit. You're really telling me, and by the way, this is one of those, get the fuck out of here, man. Like, y'all are lying. Whatever.
the problem is bad, and it's also bad for men. It's harmful for
sex education does not make people not fuck. Like, y'all are lying. Like, y'all are straight up lying. And by the way, this probably ignores homosexual sexual contact between women mainly and men. Like, they're lying. They're lying. Whatever.
Men to be constantly exposed to pornography and soft pornography. And I think it actually, in many ways, emasculates men.
Okay.
Exactly. Well, whatever with that. But on the soft pornography, it's only, and see, that's the bullshit, man. See, that's where feminism really fucked up, is tying itself into the sexual revolution, because you're not going to be able to shake that. You're not. Because essentially, it basically destroys women too. Because again, when these women are not having, they're basically commodifying themselves, and then they're trying to keep their sexual marketplace value, which is also them delaying having children. This is why these women are trying to normalize this shit so they can go in and out of sex work, which dudes are never going for that.
But I would say they are the main social benefactors of that culture because, well, first and foremost, as we're talking about women who have to kind of pick one or the other or try to manage both, and can we have it all? Like, no, you can't have it all. On a day where I really feel like I gave a little bit more to my career, I ache because I go, okay, but like now I feel.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is, this have it all shit is fundamentally fucking immature, because men don't have it all. Men do not have it. It's not how that works. Like, does Leo have kids? I don't know that he does. Like it's, men understand this, and the fact that that's one of the most devastating things. Like, any bitch that says I want it all, I don't even want to deal with you. They're gonna be a problem. they're going to be a problem. Because when you say you want it all, what you're essentially saying is nothing that I have is ever enough. That's a feeling. And look, shout out to Buddhism. You know, when it comes to happiness, happiness is a state of mind. I mean, you're in the United States of America. You are not in the third world. You, like, even as a black woman, you know, and I understand the advertising and all that other shit. That's a state of mind. Candace grew up in the same country other people grew up, and Candace was harassed by a white boy. Like, the reality of the situation is, it's this need that you have that you try to project into society, and that's a that is a personal issue. A lot of these chicks do low key need therapy. They really do. They really do.
Look, I didn't give the same amount to my children, and it's a constant push and pull, and it never feels enough. It really doesn't feel enough.
So, like, to a degree, I think that feminism does benefit men. I think that it allows men to be more emotionally intelligent, allows them to understand what that looks like, and also be able to connect.
Like, again, men weren't complaining about this shit. This is you telling us from a mommy standpoint what benefits us. Number two, y'all are not sexually expended. Like you all are not more emotionally intelligent. They're talking about emotional labor. You see how it's manipulative when they call it emotional intelligence? It's really emotional labor, because you all don't give a fuck about, like, here's the thing, man. You all don't give a fuck about men. So you all are clearly not more emotionally intelligent. You are clearly not. Like, get the fuck. See, let's keep it real. Women have changed up the term emotional availability, which is code for emotional labor, to emotional intelligence, which is one more thing we're supposed to do for these hoes. Even though these women have gotten less emotionally intelligent, women can't even stand working for other women or dealing with other women because of this. This is why they get more violent with each other and all of that. Everything they have done, and they don't even understand that, it is to serve them. It is not for this thing to be a yin and a yang. It is for it just to everything to serve them. When they don't build shit or maintain shit, they don't even maintain their fucking kids
With other people, right? But at the same time, there's so much work that feminism has done for women that to say that it benefits men more, I don't think is an accurate statement. For example, Title IX has made it very possible for women to go to college, 600% more so, right? And I think that that is a huge benefit that we can credit to the feminist movement. Though I understand your point, though, of trying to say that, like, sex work is harmful for women and more benefit.
Yeah, so why should men give a fuck about feminism? Because number one, it's benefited women at the expense of men. But we're still supposed to maintain this bullshit for you all. Because you all are not taking more of the work that actually is necessary to keep the country running. You all have not occupied more of that space at all. That is still the men that shows up in the jobs and everything. And quite frankly, women should have been made to do some of these jobs. This shouldn't even been an option if they really gave a fuck about equality, which is why they're switching the term up. These women talked about equality all this time. Now they're changing it to equity. They're liars. They're not telling the truth. They're being deceptive, because if they would have said this stuff back in the day, it would have been seen for what it is. It's fucking class warfare, and they don't even understand that. They don't even. That's why when they talk about this shit like paid maternity leave, you're not getting paid maternity leave like that. You're not. You think Amazon is going to give you fucking paid maternity leave? I don't know what man. I think that's bullshit too. You can have everything, just not all at once. I think that's bullshit. I think that's a way. That's a way of kind of saying it in a way that acts like you're an authority on something. I call bullshit on that. I call bullshit. I won't call what like. I get what he's trying to say. I get what he's trying to say. I do, but that's manipulative. That's manipulative. Because that's manipulative. Because that's like a genie saying you can have 3 wishes, and then but because you're not more specific on the wish you want, they always give you some bullshit. Even though you knew in your head what you wanted, but it's always like this caveat. That's what that is. That's fundamentally taking advantage of women saying some shit like that.
for men because they're
I mean, it is what it is, but that is what that is.
benefiting from it the most. But at the same time, if you think they're also suffering from it, does that not contradict your point?
Yeah, so I disagree on the fact that, and we do agree that more women are going to college, more women than men are graduating with college degrees. And despite that, people are saying that we still live under a patriarchy. Women are free to start their own companies. Women are free to pay women whatever they want to pay. Women could hire, and in some cases do hire all women. And so I don't really understand, which wasn't your argument to be fair, the idea that even with all of that freedom, women are still not able to achieve what men are able to achieve. I think college education actually has increased women's stress. And I'm talking about in terms of how expensive it is. And I know you're gonna then say, well, the solution to that is we have to then move the goalpost. And
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, they did that on purpose because women don't look at that. Like the reality is, women women are acting like children in the way of they assume like it's crazy how they have this idealized view of what men do. They are literally looking at the top 10% or 1% of men and acting like that's the average man, even though they're not attracted to the average man. They act like the average man is like the bottom 1%. Like the way and men take advantage of this. Like men, like the elites. This is elite. This is class terraforming. And it is so obvious women don't really think for themselves, man. It like the more you really think about this shit, it is so like, I'm sorry, man. It is so obvious. And it's a lot of dudes that don't think for themselves either. It is, but a lot of them niggas are following these shit. It's so obvious. And like I said, this AI shit, and keep in mind the elites created AI. You can talk shit, man, like about the average man did not create AI. The average man did not create automation.
I'm guessing here.
No,
but like college should be free. Everything should be free. He thinks.
Well, I think
we just need more free.
They're not gonna let that be free. Because see, they don't even know. They don't even understand. They don't even understand why feminism actually was allowed to go this far. Why do you think the men that control everything let feminism get to this point? They never asked that question. You say all the men control everything, right? So why did those men let feminism? Because they act like men are just this. Like they're arguing with men as a concept versus the fact that men compete with each other, and that's it's very obvious, man.
Stuff, and obviously nothing's free. We're just going to tax us.
If I could interject,
100%.
I just want to say, I think the issue that we keep coming back to is that you believe that women would be happiest in the home where they don't have to work. And I think most people in general probably wouldn't want to work anyways. But I think the main issue that we keep avoiding is that this is not an issue created by feminism. This is an issue created by capitalism.
Yeah, so I've heard this argument that it's an issue created by capitalism.
But you don't agree? You think feminism is the greater issue than the system?
I think that now...
Well, the problem is, so what are we going to do? Go to socialism? Like, it's funny because, see, this goes back to not thinking. Everything you all have as women. Feminism is literally possible because of capitalism. The shit you have was built under, like, if you look at Russian women and what they had to do. Russian women fought in World War II. They were snipers. They were medics. They weren't just making shit. Their ass was out there. Go look up Stalingrad as well as other. They was in that fucking cold. They was in that shit, and they were getting blown the fuck up too. Russian women was doing that shit. The Germans was like, what the fuck? These fucking Slavs, I told you they were animals. They got their women out here. Hey, yo, that's a bitch that shot me. God damn it. No. Whatever German, hot Germans. No, that's it. You just make it out of pop. Oh, shit. Yeah. They got bitches out here. All those animals. I told you those Slavs weren't shit. Told you they weren't white. You got shot by a sniper.
Now the issue more money to live.
well, we have to spend more money to live,
Right.
I think in large part because feminists got duped by the government. And I think we just keep further.
It's not the government. It's not the government, Candace. See, that's that bullshit. It's the corporations, because the corporations are like, we have a plutocracy. The corporations are bought out by the government has been bought out by the corporations, both of them now.
We're enslaving ourselves to the government. I'm not a
We're enslaving ourselves to the corporations. The government is captured. I'm not taking the government off the hook, but it's not. See, that's that bullshit, Candace. But anyway, y'all. I've been running my mouth about this for too long. I got other shit to do. Appreciate the cash outs from everybody. It's been 7:30. I've been doing this for 3 hours. I gave you 3 hours, 3 hours. It's been good analysis. Some of these kind of got on my nerves more than others. She wasn't that bad, but these are half-baked. Like, what I would say with her is, Miss, these are half-baked ideas. These are ideas like you're just adding shit, not understanding for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction, which is something feminists don't fundamentally believe. Women have this magical belief about shit. Like, oh, well, we need to get rid of capitalism and we need to have socialism like Canada, and again, at some point, men are just going to have to say no. I'm going to keep it real. Men are just going to have to say, kill me. That's what they're going to have to say. Like, we've crossed this line. It's a red line. I don't give a fuck about what you say anymore. We're at the point where you're going to have to kill me if you want to go move it any further. And men have to understand that the women, see, the problem is men think the women are the issue. The women are the pawns. It's really the elites that are the issue. And that's, white people think they're going to be elite because they're white. So that's their problem. Black men think they can individualize the shit to death, even though you got the craziest bitches. I don't get it. So dudes have their own mental shit even outside of the women to really clearly see what the issue is. White people thought, oh my God, Trump is a billionaire. We're going to put him in there and he's going to take care of it. Yeah. And a lot of them see what that looks like. So,
person who believes in big government. And yet
so it becomes a big government issue, but corporations are a controlling body. I mean, come on, look at fucking Amazon. What government institution other than a fucking military and the State Department, which is really an extension of the military. State Department is the good cop, the military is the bad cop, and the State Department is really bad cop too. It's just pretending to be the good cop. Other than like a couple of departments, like Amazon, like, are you fucking serious? Like, literally, look at there's people, did they get their groceries from Amazon? They get their groceries from Amazon. You're paying taxes on that shit now. We just got done with Prime Day. I got some induction pans for $30. Like, are you fucking serious? Like, that's damn near the post office. Bigger than the post office. I mean, like, I can name other shit. You got institutions that are in your life, like, for real. The internet. Do you not understand how much cloud service? Shout out to this person again because he fed me that info. That AWS controls. Netflix is on it. Facebook is on it. Most of your internet is on AWS, controlled by Amazon. Cloud service. Amazon is going to drop $10 billion in Fayetteville, where Fort Bragg is, in Cumberland County, for cloud servers. $10 billion. Shout out to them because there's mainly black people out there. Like, y'all motherfuckers don't even know that. They don't know that. Yo, these corporations are like governmental bodies at this point. Everybody's on these social media sites. That's the media. That's the fourth estate. And you see how they can censor you, or you're influenced in saying certain shit based on how the bitches feel, because that's what generates the views. That's mind control, yo. Anyway. Whew. Anyway. Yeah, these bitches are cooked, man. This AI shit, these bitches are cooked. I mean, these people are living in a different world. It's amazing to see how much of a different world these people are living in. Like, you got to think, when Trump won, you got to think some of these people was on suicide watch when Trump got elected. You really got to think that, because do you understand how much their worldview was like shaken when Trump got elected? Some of these people that was on this panel. But anyway, all right, y'all. It's been great. Appreciate y'all giving the donations. Donations, we will see. And appreciate B Rain for the $50. Appreciate Great Dane for the $5. Appreciate J Lock for the $5. This stream is sponsored by Nate's. And appreciate y'all for the cash app and everything. Y'all definitely made it worth it for me to do this. Let me know in the comments what you think. What was your favorite part? I will get the Princella soon. That's probably gonna be just an individual video, and maybe I'll do a couple of them after. And with that being said, this is Edward signing off. Peace.